Pirates Fire Dragon Roar Chapter 581-600. Chapter 581 Shanglei vs Nuo Nuo. Boom. A loud voice came from the other side of the phone, as if something was falling from the sky. What happened? Without the slightest hesitation, Katakuri said loudly, Smudge, what happened over there? There is something. Something has fallen from the sky. Boom boom boom. The continuous explosion came from that side, as if there was a continuous bombardment of artillery. What's the matter, Smoothie? The enemy. Katakuri exclaimed, what is it? I don't know, it's like rain. Something fell from the sky. On the other side, Smoothie's voice finally calmed down, no longer the excitement before, it's probably not a good thing. Hey, can't you? That's it. Suddenly, Smoothie's voice was very surprised. What is that? What's the matter, Smoothie? Perospero said nervously, what happened again? Island, there's an island falling from the sky. It's something that keeps falling on it. Wait, these things are... Smoothie's voice was abruptly startled. Is it a man? Is the thing that fell a man? People. Katakuri was taken aback. A person who committed suicide. No, not a person, not a person. Smoothie exclaimed, yes, zombie. Zombies. No way. Katakuri was stunned for a moment, and then immediately responded, is that so? Crackling. A thunder light fell from the sky, hitting the mountain where Katakuri and Perospero were located. Boom. The terrifying sound of the explosion broke out in an instant. The electric current was ejected everywhere, and everything around was flattened. Gently landed on the ground, Katakuri put his brother on the ground, raised his head, and said in a gloomy tone, it seems that this is not an accident, someone is indeed eyeing us. Those guys from the Whitebeard Pirates, or is it because of this that you can retreat with confidence? There are people in the New World who are willing to help the Whitebeard Pirates. And they dare to attack us with confidence. Don't you think? Katakuri's face changed. Is that kid? Katakuri. Perospero said solemnly, ready to fight. Pero, opponent, maybe. Katakuri raised his head. Behind him, the leaders of the Big Mom Pirates had begun to gather here. Yeah ha. The response is so fast. Is this the captain's most admired brother? The unruly laughter came from above the sky. Above the empty sky, an air door suddenly opened, and a half-red ship has emerged from the door. On the bow of the ship, the hideous Haki's dragon head, with his upper body on, the man with long earlobes let out a wild laugh. Not bad. Can observation Haki foresee the future? Yahahaha. Terrible. Hey, that's the captain's place. Enel. On the deck behind, the cook said helplessly, the captain will be angry when he sees it. Leave him alone, he'll know what it means to be dead when he's beaten by the captain. The maid with a cigarette in her mouth had a playful smile on her lips. You don't know what pain is if you haven't been taught a lesson. Are you looking forward to it? The chef smirked. No, not very much. The maid breathed out a smoke ring softly, spreading in the air, curling. Nana, it's very... Isn't that bad, watching Mr. God being taught by the captain? Some scared musician lady whispered. That's what he asked for. The maid sneered. Ha. The chef gave a hearty laugh. What a terrible woman. Hey, did I hear that? Enel turned his head a little unhappy. Don't be here. The red energy emerged, and the ship spirit who could not see the appearance had appeared. This is the captain's position. All right. Enel's face turned black, and his body had turned into an electric light, rushing straight down. Are we going to? The maid said casually. Wait a minute. Chef smiled. Look what Mr. Enel can do. Hey you guy. The maid smiled. Well, is this okay? Serena twitched a little. Dash. That sign. Below, Perospero looked at the mark on the pirate ship above the sky, his face gloomy. Is that the kid? Have you really entered the new world, lick it. Well, it's really him. Katakuri nodded, his tone a little low. Looks like he's already allied with the Whitebeard pirates, right? He's a smart boy. His mother and Kaido have a bad impression of him, rather than directly joining the battle for hegemony in the New World. At the same time, in the face of pressure from three parties, it is still convenient to form an alliance with a group of Whitebeard pirates. Quote. Just. Perospero looked puzzled. Why did that guy Marco form an alliance with that kid Vlad? His target is also the territory of the Whitebeard pirates, right? I don't know. Katakuri shook his head. That guy Vlad has been thinking a lot since he was a kid. Katakuri. Brother Peros. Are you okay? Charlotte family who came with Perospero and Katakuri, what happened? Oven. Katakuri turned back. As you can see, the enemy. Enemy. Oven raised his head. I see, it's that kid. Yeah ha ha ha. Crackling. Blue lightning struck the ground heavily, and the man's figure had appeared in front of a group of people from the Charlotte family. Long-time admiration. Charlotte Katakuri. Quote. Enel raised his head, looking at the person with his nostrils. It's for me. Katakuri's face had no wave in the ancient well, the bounty of 1,060,000,000. Enel, the leader of the Fire Dragon Pirates, the guy who fought brilliantly on the top, the right hand of that kid Vlad. Yeah ha ha ha, you seem to understand me quite well. Enel smiled, come on then. Disperse. Katakuri said in a low voice. Her body had turned into a phantom and instantly left its original position. God's punishment. Enel said solemnly, with a wave of his arm. His right hand had turned into a lightning bolt, and the extremely thick lightning gun had been blasted out. What? Enel had already locked Katakuri firmly, and the gun of thunder and lightning had already blasted in that direction, but unfortunately, the thunder and lightning blasted in the empty space and had no effect. The speed of thunder and lightning is really fast, but Katakuri's tall figure was not far from Enel. His slender right leg was swung in Enel's direction, and his right leg had turned into strips of milky white rice cake strips. You're not fast enough. Willow cake. The black armament hockey covered the rice cake strips, and the dozens of rice cake strips instantly became much harder than steel. Cut. Before Enel could withdraw his hand, the opponent's attack had already come to him. Crackling. Thunder and lightning excited. Chapter 582 Brothers and Sisters. Meet. A lightning bolt gathered in the distance, and Enel's body appeared in front of Katakuri again. His face was not very good-looking. There was a red stripe on his chest. The speed of thunder and lightning is very fast, there is no doubt, but it is expected to come faster in the future. Before Enel's attack was sent out, Katakuri already knew where Enel would attack, and it was very simple to avoid it. Matter. Really fast. Katakuri whispered. I was attacked by him while launching the attack. I thought that the guy in front of him would be directly blown away, but in fact, the attack that actually hit the opponent was only one time, and there was basically no damage. Yeah ha ha ha, got it. Enel smiled. You can foresee the future. Armament hockey's strength is also higher than mine, and the fighting technique is also stronger than me, which means that when it comes to close combat, I am absolutely disadvantaged. That's what you mean, right? Tisk. Katakuri's eyebrows drooped. Don't think about it. So. Enel exclaimed. However, in just an instant, the surrounding environment has been turned upside down. The originally solid soil and rocks have instantly turned into rice cakes. Around Enel, tentacle-like rice cake dumplings have already covered Enel. Tisk, did you see it again? But that can't stop me. Enel smiled. Crackling. Lightning flashes. A strong lightning flashed from Enel's body, and the strong high temperature instantly turned the surrounding rice cakes into coke. Trouble. Katakuri sighed softly. Hey. In the blink of an eye, Enel's body has risen to the sky. Thunder and lightning have no weight, so Enel can fly. Although it is only necessary to maintain an elemental state, it is enough. Yeah ha ha ha, Paramesha, awakening can change the surrounding environment, then Logia is. Enno laughed. Back off. Katakuri exclaimed, everyone, stand back. Heaven is coming. Boom. Above the sky, muffled thunder exploded, and dark clouds began to gather. Thunder dragon-like lightning began to flicker in the clouds. Well, did you go all out from the beginning? Above the big ship in the sky, the chef looked at the dark clouds above the sky in surprise. That's right, the enemy is such a powerful guy after all. Aren't you going down to help? Maid whispered, Katakuri alone is not an enemy that Enel can easily deal with, and the rest of the Charlotte family are not fuel-efficient lamps. There are some of them, and so do we, although there are only 5 of us, but... Chef smiled, didn't the last experiment go well? Hey, Diedrag, put those guys down. Yeah. The flaming Diedrag nodded. Click. The lower half of the big ship suddenly gave of opening, and 6 black shadows fell directly towards the bottom. The captain is really generous. Miss Musician sighed, each experimental body costs the cost of 5 warships. Most of our net worth has now been dispatched. Logia's awakening. It's scary. On the ground, Perospero, who had retreated so far, looked at the thunderclouds above the sky with a surprised expression. It's just Katakuri's words, there's no problem licking it. So our goal is. Charlotte Oven beside her said solemnly, that ship in the sky. Gia, quote. With a shrill cry, a man-made monster has descended from the sky. Dash 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 dash. At the same time, on another island, the atmosphere was equally tense. Heavy shadows have covered the island. It was originally a sunny day, but it turned into a cloudy day in just an instant. In the towns that have been razed to the ground, the situation is a bit strange. With a low roar, the zombies that fell from the sky were like hyenas who saw flesh and blood, and rushed towards the stunned pirates on the island, gathering into a wave from all directions. Enemy. What is this? Yes, a zombie. What's going on? What's going on with that island? Flying in the air, and zombies falling from it, is it an island from hell? Don't be stunned, idiots. The phone bug aside, Charlotte Smoothie pulled out the long sword behind her, and said loudly, what kind of zombie, as long as it dares to oppose us, even a god or a demon. It will only end in pieces. Quote. Hey. The woman swung her sword heavily, and the violent slash roared out, like a powerful slash that opened up the world. The sky seemed to be darkened, and only this slash was left. Everything in front of him was cut open with ease, whether it was rocks, trees, wreckage of houses, and those zombies, everything that stood in front of Smoothie's slash was cut in two. Starting from this woman and extending to a distance of several hundred meters, a large fan-shaped area was easily emptied. Yes, Lord Smoothie. What a powerful slash, as expected of Mr. Simuji. You can kill so many zombies with one blow, as expected of Mr. Simuji. Look, although it looks like a zombie, in fact, the combat power is no different from that of ordinary people. Smoothie exclaimed, pick up your guns. Kill them. Oh. With high morale, all the pirates instantly gathered up their spirits and rushed towards the zombie army. PFF'd. The sharp long knife slashed directly on the shoulder of the zombie, and the powerful force instantly plunged deep into the shoulder of the zombie. Hey, it's not that great either. There was just a smile on the pirate's face, but... Hey. The zombie showed a creepy smile, and the short knife in his hand stabbed directly into the pirate's stomach. What? The pirate's eyes widened and fell to the ground unwillingly, watching the zombie rush towards his companion. No. Can't kill. These guys can't be killed. It's really zombies. These guys are zombies that can't be killed. One after another, the pirates discovered the characteristics of these zombies. Even if they cut off their heads, even if they pierced their chests, even if they cut their bodies in half, these zombies can still use their mouths and teeth to bite themselves to death. Enemy. What's up with these guys? Smoothie carried the sword and didn't care too much about the lives of the pirates under his command. Is it really a zombie? Boom. A huge figure stood behind her. This ability looks familiar. Huh, Brother Cracker, you know. Smoothie looked a little surprised. Ah. Hiding in the biscuit soldier as usual, Charlotte Cracker whispered, this ability, is that Gecko Moria's ability. Ha, a disobedient kid is back to do things. Really? Smoothie whispered. Ahaha, it's been a long time. Brother Cracker, Sister Smoothie. Such laughter came from the sky, the huge island had stopped sinking, and a rotten ship had floated up from the island and flew towards the two brothers and sisters of Charlotte's family. On the bow of the boat, the man smiled recklessly. Did you miss me? Chapter 583 War broke out. Vlad, it's really your boy. Wrapped in cookie soldier, Charlotte Cracker's voice was a little dull. What do you mean? What do you mean? It looked like the tattered boat was floating not too high above the ground, because Deidrag was taken away by Enel and the others, and Vlad managed to find such a boat from Moria's boat that could carry them down. X23 US. Com updates fastest. Looking down at his brother and sister, Vlad had a smile on his face. Brother Cracker, isn't it obvious? Of course it's going to be a war. War, Vlad. Smoothie said softly, you mean, your dragon pirates and our big mom pirates? Are you declaring war with us? Yes, my sister Smoothie. Vlad smiled, didn't you expect this day? Hey, it's only a matter of time before we start a war. Isn't the opportunity right now? I see, so the Whitebeard pirates retreated without any resistance. Smoothie nodded, but didn't mean to be angry, and said solemnly, just because of your help. Vlad, what did you do? You were able to convince the Whitebeard pirates that your target is Whitebeard too. The pirate group's territory, right? They will join forces with you. Hey, for what? Vlad smiled, maybe it's because I have a strong affinity. I met Marco right away, and after a couple of chats with him, he trusted me. Cut, the older you get, the less cute you are. The corner of Smoothie's mouth twitched. Vlad, you really have the guts. Do you really think you can become the new emperor after being touted a few times? Well, although I don't care too much about the emperor or anything, but dear sister Smoothie. Vlad smiled, I can't tell if this can be done. I know the strength of the big mom pirates. How about you? Do you understand my strength? Huh, what are you doing with this kid? Smoothie. Boom. The sound of heavy footsteps. Cracker stepped forward, and his calm voice came from the very vicious biscuit soldier. Beat him up and catch him, and he will know how vast the world is. No way, Brother Cracker, you still want to beat me up. That's not okay. Vlad spread his hands. I am not a child now, I am also a pirate captain who leads a pirate group, but I can't let you play like a child. However, Brother Cracker, just come to my side. Vlad's eyes lit up, as if he had come up with some wonderful attention. If you come to my side, it's not unacceptable to give you a meal. Of course, the same is true for Sister Smoothie. PFF tilde ha 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 ha, Vlad, you kid. Smoothie laughed suddenly, still like a child. Isn't it? What's the future of following that old woman? I'm always worried that she will suddenly go crazy. Yeah, it's boring to spend every day full of vigilance and fear. Vlad spread his hands, very helpless. Yes, so it is. Smoothie raised his head suddenly, the expression on his face was extremely condensed. He held the sword in both hands, swiped down heavily, and the slash that shot up from the sky slammed directly towards the pirate ship where Vlad was. Oh. Vlad VV squinted, it's a bit dazzling. This light. Whoosh. A black shadow jumped up from Vlad's side, and went straight to the blazing slash. The body stopped in midair, and his hands were already on the two swords around his waist. Two knife flow, flowing water, eddy current. Man, shouted Loli, the double swords around his waist have been unsheathed. Ohm. With a light sound, the air instantly became a little wet, and everyone present felt that their bodies were being pulled, and a strong force instantly acted. The originally hard double swords were rippling like soft water waves at this moment, and the blue color spread from the two swords, and in the blink of an eye, the surrounding world was covered by the blue ripples. "Give me." The man turned around gently, with him at the center, the strange position spread out, like a vortex, everything around was distorted, so was Simuji's earth-shattering slash. "Go back." Scoff. A very astonishing scene, the originally huge, skyrocketing slash was directly swept away by the eddy current, elongated, twisted, and then changed in a different direction, converging with the eddy current, which has turned into a azure blue slash toward it. Smoothie blasted over. Well. At this time, Smoothie had not withdrawn his sword. Drink. With a loud roar, behind the back, the huge biscuit soldier slammed out a heavy sword, instantly slamming on this huge slash. Boom. The earth-shattering explosion sounded into the sky, and the strong shock wave spread, instantly forming a strong wind pressure, and everything around was blown away. Dang dang dang. The huge figure Dang Dang stepped back 3 steps, the sword in his hand was already broken, and a deep knife mark was even printed on his indestructible body. As a price, that azure blue slash was also shattered, and turned into a sky full of stars, just like the stars in the sky. It is really a beautiful scenery. Hurrah! Da! Gently landed on the side of the ship, holding the famous knife Chu Shui in his left hand, and hanging down naturally, holding the famous knife chrysanthemum in his right hand against his shoulder. His head was gently raised, and a smile appeared on the corner of the man's mouth. "This can't be done, our king, you can't just be touched by you. Are you this fellow, the swordsman of the dead, Sakata XX?" Smoothie's face was a little dignified, and even if a first-class swordsman just passed one move, he could judge the opponent's strength from the opponent's moves. "The bounty is only over 800 million. Are all Marines blind?" "Ha, I agree with that." A smile appeared on Sakata's face. "There are more than one subordinates of this strength." Smoothie whispered, "No wonder you're so inflated. Do you understand now, Sister Smoothie?" Vlad laughed. "War. It's really starting. Big Mom pirates and Dragon pirates, the war between us. It's already started. What a disgusting brat." Cracker whispered, his right hand made a move, and in the air, the crumbs of the biscuit began to condense, turning into a biscuit sword in his hand. "Let me try it out. How much stronger is your strength than last time?" Boom. The ground shattered violently, and the huge biscuit soldiers rose into the sky and charged towards the pirate ship in the sky. "Well." Cracker groaned, and his body fell from the sky instantly, hitting the ground heavily. He, didn't I say that I won't let you meet the king so easily?" The tall figure fell to the ground, the shadowed tentacles tied to Cracker's legs retracted and surrounded him. The man named Moria smiled. "Who are in such a hurry?" Vlad twitched the corners of his mouth. "Then. Let's go to war." Chapter 584 Firepower. When. The huge long sword slashed hard on the 2 long swords that looked slender. Hey! The ground sank suddenly, and the powerful force instantly shattered the surrounding ground inch by inch, and Sakata was almost pressed into the ground. What a terrifying power! Sakata stared at the dead fish. Is this guy really a woman? Can a woman's power really reach such a level? Sakata's hands were a little numb, and the woman named Simuji showed extremely strong strength, which was truly worthy of her tall physique. Even compared to the male great swordsman, the woman's strength would definitely not appear weak. Tornado. With a sudden pressure on his body, his strong waist suddenly twisted, and a violent slash roared out from his hands. Ding 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 ding. Quote. With a series of explosions, a blue tornado rose from the ground, and the violent tornado carried the terrifying power of destroying everything. A storm formed around him in an instant. Hey! With a look of surprise in Simuji's eyes, his tall body burst back. What a ferocious swordsmanship! The current is gentle, but... Man rode the tornado and fell from the sky. The water is also the most violent. Two-knife flow, flowing water, broken waterfall. Like a waterfall cascading down from the Milky Way above the 9 heavens, Sakata holds 2 swords in his hands, and the water vapor in the air begins to gather behind him, and it is like a real waterfall. The attack has not yet officially appeared, and the strong pressure has already cracked the surrounding ground. Does the water flow? A smile appeared on the woman's face. This is the most useless trick in front of me. Om. Dash 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 dash. Well, Moria, what's going on? Oh, Vlad smiled. After losing weight, I've become a fighter. It's suddenly different from the previous fighting style. Is it because you have been idle for too long, so you are very quiet and thoughtful? Boom. The huge fist slammed heavily on the ground shattered as if it had been hit by a comet, and the huge pothole appeared on the ground in just an instant. He 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 he. The man with an extremely tall and majestic physique with 2 small horns on his head smiled, ha 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 ha. As soon as he stepped on it, the body that looked very bulky had already drifted like a phantom, the huge fist had been covered with a layer of powerful armament, and the heavy punch had slammed into the opposite biscuit armor. Boom. A very dull sound. Moria's powerful punch slammed into the shield held by the biscuit armor, and clearly visible cracks began to spread on the biscuit shield. However, the scary thing is that such cracks begin to mend immediately after they appear. Hum hum hum. Is this only the power? Cracker let out a low laugh, and the long sword in his hand suddenly spun. Pretzel. Quote. The long sword that was spinning like an electric drill suddenly stabbed towards Moria. A small tornado was wrapped around the sword, and an extremely sharp explosion sounded suddenly. This blow was an attack that could easily pierce through steel. Ha 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 ha. This attack is too straightforward. Moria let out a gloomy laugh. Who did you hit? Hey. Underground, tentacle-like shadows instantly rose into the sky, wrapping directly around Cracker's sword. The long sword that was spinning wildly suddenly stopped moving, and the dark shadow had completely covered the long sword. Cut. Cracker snorted disdainfully. Shadow gun. Crack. The huge shadow spear shot up from the ground, like an earth-shattering slash. Sharp and powerful. Huh, really? Boom. The huge figure stepped back a few steps and stomped heavily on the ground. Hey, hey, what a powerful attack. Oh. The shadow gun suddenly dissipated, and turned into a shadow and returned to Moria's back. The man looked surprised. Charlotte. Cracker, this is the real look. The front of the biscuit armor has been cut by the shadow gun, and the man with purple hair inside is exposed. The real face has been discovered. Cracker jumped out of the biscuit armor, a long sword pinned to his waist. So, kill you. Clap. Cracker clapped his hands twice. Well. Moria looked surprised. In the air, light cookie crumbs began to permeate. Yeah, that's not bad. On the bow, Vlad sat on the side of the boat and smiled. This guy Moria is not bad. Ha 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 ha. Of course, Lord Moria is very strong. Behind Vlad, the ghost girl said proudly. So, Captain, won't you do it? Beside the ghost girl, Luo, who was holding a knife, said. Well, we are all brothers and sisters. Vlad said casually, I don't really want to rely on the strong to bully the weak. Besides, it's enough. The big mom pirates only came out this time with 3 generals and a few cadres. Many cadres are on Cake Island. The old woman didn't come out either. Our combat power is more than enough to repel them. Then I'll go play. Luo said softly, his right hand moved forward. Room. Quote. Incomparably huge, a huge spherical transparent space covering the peninsula suddenly appeared. Scoff. The man has disappeared. Hey. Perona looked startled. Hey, ghost, come on too. Vlad said without looking back. Huh. Perona looked a little confused. On this side, the battle is in full swing. On the other hand, the battle situation is a little strange. Above the sky, the thunderclouds were densely covered, and the thunder dragon rolled in it. The earth-shattering thunder and lightning fell from the sky like rain, and the whole forest turned into a sea of thunder and lightning. This should have been a terrifying scene, but the sound was as soft as water, like a stream flowing down from a green mountain. It was crisp and beautiful. Just hearing the sound would make you feel relaxed and happy. Such sounds add a touch of beauty to the island. It is the sound of the violin, spreading on this island. This is not a theater, nor an opera house, this is a battlefield. Through the loudspeaker installed on the D-Drake earlier on Fishman Island, the wonderful sound of the violin spread all over the island, and a woman named Serena was playing the violin. Go to hell. Go to die. Kill you. Hey, bastard. What are you doing? I don't know. I don't know why. I just think, you guy, is my enemy. Go to hell. Go to die. Damn it. What the hell happened? A long tongue, the man named Charlotte Parrosparrow looked at the people who were slaughtering around him with a solemn expression, and his heart was full of horror. What the happened? That indescribable feeling in my heart. What the hell is going on with Malice? It's the music. Is it the music from that ship? Damn, it's the ability person, lick it. Parrosparrow resisted the desire to shoot at the pirates around him, and took out a phone bug from his pocket. Gather the fire. Gather the fire. Bring me down that pirate ship and lick it. That's amazing, Serena. The maid smiled, looked at the girl in front of her who was playing to her heart's content, and said with admiration, has it reached such a level? It's easy to be a one-man enemy. Such soldiers no longer pose a threat at all. Oh, is this a competition of firepower? Platinum D-Drake, the chef smiled, that would be fun. The words of firepower. The woman with the cigarette in her mouth stepped forward. I won't lose to anyone. Chapter 585 Chimera. Chimera. A ship in the sky that gathers fire. In the distance, outside the island, above the sea, 10 huge pirate ships were parked in the open sea. In the middle of a large ship, a man named Charlotte Montjour held a phone bug in his voice. Looking a little surprised, Brother Parros, with such a distance and such a small target, if you focus on the fire, you will also be within the coverage of the artillery fire. I can't handle that much anymore. Parrosparrow's voice sounded extremely serious. If we don't get rid of that ship and that woman, we'll be defeated in this war. You bastard Vlad, where did you find this kid? So many great guys. Montjour, don't hesitate, fire. Good. Charlotte. Montjour nodded heavily, picked up another phone bug. All of them, the target, the Platinum D-Drake on the island. Open. Whoa. Blank in the mind, the idea of Montjour suddenly emptied, blank in the mind. Boom. The huge roar reminded me that a ship next to it directly cut into 2 parts. Even a big ship that could walk on the sea in the New World was suddenly smashed to smithereens. That's... Montjour turned his head with some difficulty. Who? Wind, gust of wind. The strong wind swept in from the direction of the island, and the sails on the ship were blown full. Wow. Waves, huge waves, with the sinking ship as the center, the huge waves are starting to ripple. Wow. What a big wave. What happened? That ship, in the end. What's wrong? A huge pirate ship floated up and down in the waves. That was, what? Montjour's eyes widened. Montjour, hello, Montjour. What happened? I heard a loud bang. Brother Parros, trouble. Montjour said so. He had already seen that above the sky, densely packed cannonballs with long tail flames were already covering them like a torrential rain. Firepower is not at the same level at all. Not bad. Chef smiled, is that the power of Momo's fruit just now? It's amazing. Well, in actual combat, this is the first time. The maid's right hand restored her fair and slender arm, and replied, even the most common iron cannon, if its speed and size are accelerated by 100 times, can easily do such a thing. Be merciful. Chef said, BABY5, because many of the captain's family members are on board. What are you talking about? I don't understand, but that's not enough. It's not enough to sink a ship, these guys don't have such a long memory. The maid said so, stepped forward and stretched out her hands. Ka-la-la-la. With the sound of a mechanical change, the maid's hands and backs have completely lost their human appearance. The arms are opened like flips, the backs are directly split, and the dense warheads are exposed. One enemy army. Maid smiled, as this count? In front of us, the number of people and the firepower are all meaningless. Swish 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 swish. The blue flames swayed everywhere, and the dense warheads shot up into the sky, bombarding away in the distance like a violent storm. Dash 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 dash. Boom 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 boom. Montdor, are you okay? Hey, Montdor. He didn't get a response. Hearing a series of explosions coming from the phone bug, Sparrow had a trace of anger on his face and looked up at the pirate ship that was still floating in the air. Damn, bounty 790 million, armed maid baby 5. Terrible guy, terrible ability lick lick. Giaaaa. A sharp cry suddenly sounded behind Sparrow, and an invisible chill was bred behind him. Ding 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 ding. Without dodging, a candy wall suddenly rose behind him, and the hemispherical candy wall blocked his back. Then, the incomparably sharp impact continuously bombarded the candy wall behind him. Cut. Is it coming again? A carpet made of candy at the bottom of Sparrow's feet suddenly extended, like an elevator, his body instantly changed positions and moved to a distance. What terrifying creatures! What the hell are these guys? Sparrow's eyes were suspicious. In the middle of the completely broken candy wall, there was a monster the size of a puppy lying on the ground and grinning. The 4-foot wing-like thing behind him swayed gently, and there were conspicuous signs on it. Bloodstains. Giaaaa. With a low growl, the chimera shot towards Sparrow again, with the speed of lightning. So fast. Although the previous battles have seen the amazing speed of these monsters, when facing this monster again, I will still be frightened by the speed of this monster. Ding! The monster slammed into a cloud of liquid candy. Although soon. With a wave of Sparrow's cane, the liquid candy instantly congealed and covered the chimera firmly, but thinking is still too simple to lick, how could such a straight attack be effective against me? However, if we continue to fight like this, we don't have the advantage at all. Sparrow looked around the battlefield. Obviously they were all members of a pirate group, but at this moment they were fighting fiercely together. That woman's abilities are too tricky to lick. No, you have to get rid of her first, Scoff. Sparrow only had to condense a candy wall behind his back, then turn to one side, and then, the shining beam instantly stirred, and the sturdy candy wall broke a hole in an instant. Ah, damn it. Sparrow's eyes widened, and the beam swept across his shoulder, leaving a small hole on his shoulder. The amazing temperature directly evaporated the blood, and the wound was directly carbonized. Not dead yet. Gia. With a low and sharp roar, behind Sparrow, the candy dumplings were still broken, and Chimera's head had been poked out of it. What a terrible life force. Jaa. Hey. There was another soft sound, and a black shadow suddenly brushed past Sparrow's side, hitting Chimera, who was wrapped in candy, straight. The second one. Sparrow's expression was solemn, and there was another scratch on his face. Giaaaa. The attack of the second chimera instantly shattered the candy that had bound the first chimera, and the two chimeras slowly separated, sandwiching Sparrow from both sides, and a low roar sounded from their mouths. Trouble. Sparrow clenched the cane in his hand. Scoff. Scoff. With two consecutive soft sounds, two dazzling lasers shot out. Chapter 586 Fierce Fight. Thunder and Foreseeing the Future. Drink. With a loud roar, the steamy man slammed a heavy punch on the black shadow who was pounced towards him. X23 US. Com updates fastest. Gia. Quote. Bah. The black shadow that was hit let out a scream, and was directly blasted out. It's really hard to deal with. Named Charlotte. Oven wiped the blood from his face. Where did that kid Vlad get this kind of thing? G.E. Chimera, who was hit by Oven, shook her head and stood up from the ground. There was a huge fist mark on her head. Rapidly increasing, his hot fist not only possesses huge punching power, but also an amazing temperature. With just one punch, the Chimera had already suffered a huge trauma. But, well, Oven's eyes widened. This is. In front of his eyes, Chimera shook her head. The fist marks on her head had begun to slowly swell, and soon they were back to normal. Even the burnt black marks disappeared. Recovered. Oven was extremely surprised. What the hell is this thing? Gigi. Chimera growled in a low voice. Her body has changed again. The black scales on her body have begun to change, and a thick layer of cuticle has begun to cover her body. Hey. In the blink of an eye, Chimera had already rushed forward, and in the blink of an eye, he had already rushed in front of Oven, opening his mouth and biting towards Oven. Too arrogant. Oven shouted loudly, and his fists were already blasted out. G.I. Oven's fist brought a strong wind. Such wind can be sensed by the hair on the Chimera's body. The wings on the back shook violently, and the body VV moved upward, still avoiding Oven's fist, straight towards Oven bit off the head. Damn. Oven was furious. Get away from me. The brilliance of the flames flickered in Oven's eyes. Heat sight, space heating. Gia. Quote. With a scream, Chimera's body suddenly began to burn with flames. The hair on the body was the best combustion accelerant, but in just a moment, the body was already wrapped in flames. Hey! Hey! Fireball jumped over Oven's shoulder. Blood was flowing from Oven's shoulder, and a hole had been opened in his shoulder. Neat. Oven looked back in disbelief. Gia. Quote. There is still Mars jumping on her body, but Chimera seems to be fine, lying on the ground, preparing for the second round of attack. This guy. Adapted to the heat. Quote. Dash 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 dash. Ding. The extremely tall woman Dang Dang took a few steps back. The cigarette in the corner of her mouth fell to the ground, and the hand holding the knife trembled a little. Terrible power. Gia. Quote. Without flinching in the slightest, Chimera, who was hit by a knife and flew away, kicked on the tree with 6 legs, and her body had turned into a phantom and charged straight towards the woman. Give it to me, get out. The woman with a long neck and a hat with a wide brim shouted, holding a knife in both hands, slashing towards the Chimera. Ding. Wrapped around hockey slashed heavily on Chimera's body, the blade rubbed against the Chimera's thick scales, and sparks appeared, but... Cut. Woman's face was extremely ugly. It's so hard. G.E. With a low roar, another Chimera jumped out from behind the woman and rushed towards the woman's back. What? The second one. The woman didn't have time to react at all. Her face was full of surprise. PFF'd. With a soft sound, the ground suddenly burst open, and the solid ground has completely turned into a rice cake. The rice cake popped up suddenly and instantly wrapped the second Chimera. Well. Looking back in surprise, the woman said happily, Brother Katakuri. The distance, Katakuri gently turned to one side, and a thunderbolt passed him, heavily bombarded into the forest. Be careful, Amand. These guys are not opponents to be underestimated. Yeah. Amand nodded, clenching the sword in his hand again. Hey, can you be more serious when you fight with me? The distance, Enel's face was full of annoyance. Can you do whatever you want by seeing the future? With a slight movement of Katakuri's hand, the Chimera that was bound in his hand was thrown straight away, and happened to be hit by a lightning bolt. Gee. With a scream, the monster finally lost its voice. Sorry. Katakuri said solemnly, it's really possible. Damn, this can't be known to the captain. Enel turned into a thunderbolt and rose into the sky. With a wave of his hands, above the sky, among the dense thunderclouds, the thunderbolt suddenly began to jump. Wan lay. Crackling, crackling, crackling. It was raining, and the rain fell to the ground from the black thunderclouds. However, this is not ordinary rain, but lightning constitutes rain. Countless flashes of lightning descended from the thunderclouds and bombarded the islands below. Guro guro no mi, rumble rumble fruit. Katakori's eyes were extremely calm, and he still had time to think about it. Terrible ability. After awakening, it is a real natural disaster. Vlad's subordinate. It's incredible. Boom. 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 Every lightning strike on the ground will be a violent explosion, and the fire will be everywhere. In the blink of an eye, the surrounding terrain has been completely changed. Katakori couldn't be touched in the slightest. Even if it is an extremely fast attack like thunder and lightning, if you know where such an attack will land a few seconds in advance, it is really easy to avoid it. Damn, what a troublesome ability. Above the sky, Enel observation Haki launched with full force, and the flashing thunder was far more dazzling than the sun in the sky. All vision had been directly deprived, and the enemy could only be confirmed through observation Haki. Fortunately, what Enel does best is observation Haki. Is it possible to predict the trajectory of an attack by foreseeing the future? So no matter how I attack, Enel whispered, as long as there is room to escape, the attack will never hit him. Then, Enel suddenly raised his right hand to the sky. I won't give you space to hide. 300 million volts. Don't think about it. Whoosh. Enel suddenly heard a low voice from Katakori in the thunder, and a black shadow had broken through the thunder, and at such a distance the speed was comparable to that of lightning. That's a fist. A fist covered with armament. Entwined with heat, fists like rockets. Crackling. Enel's pupils shrank, and he instantly turned into lightning and was about to leave. Then, boom. Wrapped around armament slammed heavily on the thunderbolt. Hey! Enel groaned, and had already taken a trick. I said, I can see the future. Tall figure has already vacated the sky, blocking Enel's face instantly. Where can you run to? The Peerless Donuts. The glutinous ball is chanting. Chapter 587 Shadows and Cookies. The Peerless Donuts. Quote. Katakori, who suddenly appeared in front of Enel, shouted in a low voice. In the blink of an eye, a very amazing scene appeared. In the air, a dozen milky white donuts appeared in an instant, seemingly ordinary things, but floating in Katakori. Behind it is like a powerful artillery piece. X-23 US. Com updates fastest. What? Before Enel could have any other thoughts, Katakori's attack had already arrived. The glutinous ball is chanting. Katakori swung his right hand sharply, and then, whoosh whoosh whoosh. Like a machine gun, the center of the donut behind Katakori, which was originally just a blank space, suddenly appeared one after another of black shadows. One fist roaring out of the donut. A fist made of rice cakes covered with a mighty armament Haki. Puff 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 puff. Gatling slammed Enel's body with his fist like a storm. Hey! Enel let out an astonishing scream, and only had time to put his hands in front of him and Haki to protect his body. There was astonishing pain from all corners of his body, and it felt like the bones of his fist were about to be broken. Nuo Tuan groaned, and each fist blasted out of the donut had the power of the fist of a 4-block bouncer in a straw hat. Whether it is speed or strength, it is terrifyingly strong. The blink of an eye, Enel had already hit dozens of punches, turned into a flash of lightning, and was directly blasted out, hitting the ground heavily, resulting in a strong explosion. Thunder and lightning spread everywhere, and everything around was blown away. Destroyed. Crap. Above the sky, Katakori, who knocked Enel into the air, was not at all proud. On the contrary, his expression was extremely ugly. He raised his head, and the thunderclouds above the sky had begun to gather towards him. Hey, it hurts. Lying on the ground, Enel coughed up blood and sat up with a smile on his face. Cut, did you break 2 ribs? It's a powerful fist, But this time, what are you doing? Instead, hide and watch. Quote. 500 million volts. Lei Ying. Enel raised his right hand and gave it a heavy grip. Is no way to escape. The thundercloud above the sky has instantly wrapped Katakuri. A huge black thundercloud ball has floated above the sky. Crackling. Lightning strikes the sky. Dash 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 dash. Ha 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 and ha. The woman in the sky let out a very penetrating laughter. With a wave of her hands, several negative ghosts drifted out, instantly penetrating the bodies of the surrounding pirates, and all the pirates who passed through would lose their vitality instantly. Crawls on the ground, unable to get up again. Then it will be repaired by the zombies on the side, and the dead can no longer die. What the hell is going on with this woman? Surrounding Big Mom pirates were horrified. Is it Logia's ability? Even hockey can't hurt her. Damn it. Ha 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 and ha. Perona smiled and scattered dozens of small ghost bombs from her hands. Boom 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 boom. The continuous explosions result from this. In a closed spherical space. When the one in his hand was in front of him, and the huge blade slashed heavily on the blade. The powerful force made Luo couldn't help but take a few steps backwards, almost unable to hold the long knife in his hand. Charlotte Daifuku, that's amazing. Looking at the huge black devil in front of him, Luo said softly. Trafalgar Law. On the opposite side of Luo, a man with a flat head with a huge spherical bulge on his shoulders said solemnly, Vlad, that young man's ship doctor. Does he actually have such strength? Such strength. Luo's mouth curled into a mocking smile, and he raised his left hand, slaughterhouse. Hey. Luo's figure has disappeared in an instant. What? Daifuku's pupils shrank. What kind of strength is it? Such a voice came from behind him. Dash 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 dash. He, what a terrible trick. Moria tumbled on the ground, and almost at the same time, a heavy slash hit the ground behind him. The ground suddenly shattered, and deep cracks spread. Boom. Heavy footsteps came from the side. Moria didn't even have to look back. She already knew that the opponent's attack was coming again. Hey. Moria chuckled, and her body suddenly began to move. Without relying on the movement of any part of her body started to move on its own. Under him, the shadow lifted him like a hand and started to move. Boom. The electric drill-like attack instantly opened a hole in the ground, and the solid ground did not block it in the slightest. Charlotte Cracker, worthy of a big pirate with a bounty of more than 800 million. Moria said with a solemn expression. In front of him are more than a dozen huge biscuit soldiers, composed of Cracker's abilities and extremely powerful, each of which has the power to wrestle with the pirates with bounties of hundreds of millions. Not to mention the defensive power, they are extremely strong, and there is absolutely no way for them to be attacked by ordinary attacks. Those guys, I'm not an opponent. I don't want to play anymore. Behind the group of biscuit soldiers, Cracker whispered, go to hell. Dong 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 dong. Moria like crazy, and the spear-like swords in their hands had already slashed towards Moria. Shadow Mage. Moria whispered. Well. Cracker was suddenly startled, and at some point, a black shadow still appeared beside him, and the outline was exactly the same as Moria. What's the use of it? Cracker is unruly Isho, the long sword around his waist slid across Shadow's neck like lightning. Well. There is no real feeling at all, as if hitting the air. Because it's a shadow, so the attack doesn't work at all. Cracker thought so. Whoosh. Cracker's attack didn't work, but that didn't mean Shadow's attack didn't work either, and a heavy claws grabbed Cracker. Boom. The ground suddenly shattered. Although it can't hit, but the speed is average. Cracker fell to one side, his eyes turned to the other side, and boom 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 boom. More than a dozen giant biscuit soldiers had already surrounded Moria, the swords in their hands slashed down, and in the blink of an eye, Moria had been chopped into meat sauce. It's over. Cracker gently isho. Shadow gun. What? Cracker hurriedly turned sideways, and the dark shadow spear brushed past him, bringing a burst of blood. This guy. Holding the long sword in his hand, Cracker was a little horrified, not dead. He. The original Black Shadow has turned into Moria's appearance. There is no scar on her body. Very strong ability, strong and terrifying. Moria can exchange positions with his shadow at any time. The response is so fast. Cut. Cracker lowered his head. There was already a scar on his waist, blood seeping from it. What a tough ability. He. Moria smiled and spread her hands. I can't beat you now, but... Shadow gathering place. Chapter 588 Clear Situation. Boom. The incomparably tall giant held the sword in both hands, and slashed from top to bottom with the same power as the sky and the earth, and slashed heavily on two much slender swords. Hey! Sakata groaned, the surrounding ground shattered violently, and the terrifying force from the huge long sword held above his head instantly blasted Sakata into the ground, leaving only one head and holding two swords, firmly blocking it. The hands of the opponent's great sword. Ka-la-la-la. In the back, the ground shattered like a foam. I don't know how far the cracks spread from the blade of the giant sword. From this point, a huge crack that directly divided the island in two has already spread. Up here. What a terrible power. The body is stuck in the ground, and Sakata's heart is a little distressed, and the ability to absorb water and trouble restrains me a little. What's wrong? The body has swelled to a height of more than 10 meters, which is already the height of a real giant. Simuji laughed so much. What's the matter? Don't you keep attacking? The sword in his hand was lifted up, and then he did not need to charge up at all, and immediately another slash. Two-knife flow, flowing water, explosive flow. On the ground, Sakata rose to the sky, two swords were placed behind him, a faint blue light lingered on his arms, and his muscles were a little swollen. When the violent wind spread, and the surrounding ground seemed to be being cut by a huge knife, shattering inch by inch, and huge cracks appeared on the surrounding ground. Dang dang dang. Simuji took a few steps back. Although her size had grown a lot and her strength had greatly increased, the terrifying power shown by Sakata still knocked her back. Cut, it's not easy. Simuji stood still, without the slightest hesitation. With a heavy swing of the giant sword in his hand, he slashed directly at Sakata who had not yet landed. The advantage of the length of the sword lies in this place. Ding! With a crisp sound, Sakata's body was directly blown away, even if it blocked Simuji's sword, but there was no relay in the air. Of course Sakata couldn't stop in place, and could only be blown away weakly. Scoff! His legs fell heavily on the ground, pulling out two long traces, and Sakata's face was a little weird. I can understand that absorbing water can swell the body, but... Bang! As soon as he stepped on it, Sakata's body was already dashing forward like a cheetah, and in the blink of an eye, he was close to Simuji, his knees bent, and his body rose into the sky. Can anyone tell me why the sword also gets bigger as the body gets bigger? Can the sword also absorb water? Where is the logic? This is not scientific at all. Two-knife flow, rapid flow, siege gun. The body suddenly rotated, and the blue tornado had already appeared. The huge tornado of sword energy that swept across the world had already blasted directly towards Simuji. Cut. Smoothie frowned. Drink. The long sword slashed suddenly. Boom. Heaven and earth shook. Boom. A black shadow was suddenly smashed into the ground, and the huge body also retreated again and again. Impressive. Sakata silently crawled out of the ground and shook his drowsy head. He was worthy of being the top cadre of the four emperors. He was so powerful that it seemed that the outcome was not so simple. Neat. Smoothie's arm trembled at VVS, what an amazing power. There were shallow wounds on his waist and legs. Well, It seems that there is no need to fight anymore. Sakata thought so. In a short time, it is impossible to tell the winner. Dash 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 dash. Hey hey hey. He glanced at the surrounding crowd with some vigilance, and the doctor of the fire dragon pirates had sweat on his head. Damn it, don't think it's going to end so easily. Front of Luo, the fourth son of the Charlotte family, a senior cadre of the Charlotte family, a man named Charlotte Daifuku whispered, "Since you dare to attack the Charlotte family, even the demons from hell will send you to the underworld." Huh, it's troublesome. Luo whispered, "Captain, the combat power is not enough." In front of him and behind Charlotte Daifuku, a group of cadres of the Charlotte family have assembled. Smoothie's two twin sisters, Charlotte Strawn, Charlotte Snamon, and the 33rd son of the Charlotte family with a long sword around her waist, Raisin. 16th son, Moscato, 6th son, Conte. Because Moria used the shadow gathering place to extract a lot of shadows, the cadres who had been dragged by the zombies finally assembled. Such combat power. Luo showed a mocking smile. "I can only run away." "Escape." Daifuku said in a low voice. The devil emerged from his stomach. His body was extremely swollen, and in the blink of an eye, he was already the size of a giant. Even if it is the end of hell, don't even think about breaking away from the pursuit of the Charlotte family. Oh. Luo's expression was a little distressed. "Is that so?" Raising his right hand, Yi Tadogi cried against his shoulder. Luo stretched out his left hand, raised his middle finger, and made an international provocative gesture. "Then let's try it." "Kill him! Kill him!" Daifuku let out a loud roar, and the demon behind him, his younger brothers and sisters shot out in an instant, about to smash the corpse of the guy who tarnished the glory of the Charlotte family into tens of thousands of pieces. "Yeah, Tilda." Luo chuckled. "Room. Slaughterhouse." Scoff. With a light sound, the body disappeared instantly. Dash 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 dash. Well, it seems that the combat power is a little uneven. Vlad smiled. The rest of the zombie army and the ghost girl are enough to hold back the pirates under the mad woman. On the island, the tragic fighting continued. Compared with the pirates, the number of zombies who were obviously inferior to the pirates could be on a par with the pirates. Of course, it was because these zombies were immortal as long as they did not encounter salt. Yes, there is absolutely no way to take them, and the only solution is to cut them into pieces. It seems that the victory or defeat between the samurai and Simuji is indistinguishable in a short period of time, unless the kid is willing to work hard, but it seems unlikely. The fierce battle between Simuji and Sakata is still going on. The woman who has swelled to the size of a giant is holding a big sword and Sakata slashing and slashing. Then, this guy Luo was completely suppressed. Hee, really, don't I? Vlad laughed loudly. In the distance, in the translucent spherical space, Luo's figure flickered in the crowd like a ghost. He was pressed by the officials of the Charlotte family step by step and could only keep dodging. The occasional counterattack cannot cause any damage to the opponent. So, the situation is very clear. Vlad smiled. If I don't take action, will the battle end up tilting towards the opposite side? Of course, based on Moria's defeat. Boom. Hey, how about this time? It's not me who should be hiding. The huge figure roared, and a heavy punch directly blasted a biscuit soldier, and the shield blocking his fist was directly shattered, and a huge crack spread on the biscuit soldier's body. Hee. Shadow corner gun shadow jungle. On the ground, shadows spread. Chapter 589 Battle to the End. Chi. Just like a jungle, countless black shadow spears grow from the ground and rise into the sky, just in an instant to build a shadow forest on the ground. Cut. Not far away, Cracker snorted angrily, jumped lightly, and jumped on top of a certain biscuit soldier, dodging Moria's shadow gun. Ka-la-la-la. The sharp shadow spears bombarded the numerous biscuit soldiers one after another, making a sour sound. Even the sturdy biscuit soldiers could hardly maintain their original strength under such bombardment. I think too much. Cracker let out a low drink and clapped his hands lightly, and the cracked biscuit soldier suddenly recovered. He, sure enough, Shadow's attack power is still too weak. Moria, who is already more majestic, has exceeded 10 meters in height, and absorbed 300 shadows, smiled. After all, the gathering place of shadows can only increase my strength and the range of shadows, but in fact the power of shadows is not the same. No enhancement. But, Ohm. The dull sound recalled that the spears that the shadows had turned into began to gather. Shadow Warrior, Shadow Legion. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 huge shadow giants have appeared on the battlefield. What? Cracker was taken aback. Hey. Moria laughed. Now, the numbers are evened out. Shadow Soldier versus Biscuit Soldier. Cracker twitched. What nonsense are you talking about? Crush them. Whoosh. Whoosh. Laugh. Hum. The biscuit soldiers attacked the surrounding shadow warriors knowingly, without escaping, without the slightest evasion. The old god Moria was keeping his shadow warriors in place to withstand the biscuit soldiers' attacks, because there was no need to dodge at all. Damn. Cracker frowned. The attack of the biscuit soldiers has no effect on the shadow warrior, which is of course, how can a normal attack have an effect on the shadow? He, then it's my turn. Moria smiled. How is your attack possible? Cracker was about to taunt when one of his cookie soldiers was blown away. What? Yes, Moria's shadow warriors can't be hurt, but their attack power is limited, so they can't do any damage to Cracker's biscuit soldiers at all, but Moria himself can. Standard, smashing a biscuit soldier with one punch is not something that can't be done. Moreover, what is even more terrifying is that shadow warriors can directly exchange positions with the main body. It only takes Moria's mind to move. This is the most terrifying part of the shadow fruit. Boom 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 boom. What Cracker saw was a tall figure flashing constantly, blasting his own biscuit man. Troublesome ability. Cracker whispered. He realized that it was impossible to beat the guy in front of him, even if he was physically strong enough to make biscuit soldiers for a day or two in a row. Moria beat 10 and he would be able to make 20 in no time, but he wanted to. It is absolutely impossible to defeat Moria in a short period of time. And once the winner cannot be determined in a short time. Damn. Cracker turned his head and glanced at the big ship in the sky. Cracker. Smoothie. Quote. Suddenly, he heard such a voice. Brother Daifuku. Cracker turned his head. Boom. Above the sky, the huge thundercloud has turned into a thundercloud ball. On the dark outer layer, thunder and lightning are constantly jumping, like a thunder dragon flickering one by one. The terrifying power gathers inside. This is the power that can sink an island with one blow. Brother Katakori. Quote. Katakori. Quote. Katakori-sama. Yeah ha, this time. Enel stood up straight, blood on the corners of his mouth. I can't hide. But. It's not enough. It's not enough. The power is too scattered. Drink. Enel shouted loudly, his hands slammed together, and the huge thundercloud sphere above the sky began to radiate thunder and lightning, and the sky was instantly shrouded in thunder and lightning, as if it was a terrifying disaster. Then, the huge sphere began to shrink, and the volume became smaller and smaller. With the rapid shrinkage of the volume, the radiated lightning began to become more and more intense. Damn, get the hell out of here. Charlotte Oven, who was exuding heat, roared, punched a chimera wrapped around him, and looked up at the sky. You will be fine, right? Katakori. Quote. Giaaa. Quote. Without giving him a chance to breathe, the second chimera had already pounced on it, and its body was completely different from before, with a solid cuticle covering the body, and the two among the 6 feet were no longer feet, but turned into in the existence of the same wings behind it, like 6 swords that cut iron like mud, swept towards Oven. Damn. Damn it. Oven growled, already wrapped in a layer of hockey. In the same situation, Big Brother Perospero was entangled by two chimeras and couldn't escape at all. Even if he saw his brother in danger, he couldn't help him. Katakuri, of course we won't be disappointed this time. Perospero waved his cane, and the surging syrup instantly covered everything around him, including the two annoying chimeras. Right. The syrup condensed, and the two chimeras were tightly bound. However, Perospero did not mean to slack off. Crackling. Some crisp sounds sounded, and the solidified syrup melted instantly, letting the two chimeras inside get out of trouble again. Gii. Jaa. Quote. Looking at the two chimeras with arcs wrapped around them, Perospero's expression was extremely solemn. What the hell is this? It can discharge like an electric eel. Could it be going too far? Platinum Dedrag, the maid said solemnly, after all, he is the captain's brother, and the relationship between them is still very good. But, at least, for this moment. Chef whispered, we are the enemy. And this time, enough is enough. On the ground, Enno laughed wildly. Lei Ying, overload. Boom. Crack. Crack. Above the sky, the thunder and lightning exploded violently, and the dazzling white light spread, accompanied by thunder and lightning like rain falling everywhere. Just in an instant, the island was smashed into pieces. A terrifying explosion happened in the sky. Really, this guy? Cook frowned. I don't care at all. Out his hand, a butter shield suddenly formed, and the pitch-black hockey instantly covered it, gently blocking the falling lightning. Yeah, ha ha ha, how is this going? Open your arms. Enno's arms have turned into lightning. I asked how are you? Asshole. With a wave of his arms, the overwhelming thunder light has spread, and everything in front is covered. Vaguely can also find a figure from the lightning. Flowing glutinous balls. Quote. Chapter 590 Closing. Hockey is really a very magical power. It gives the non-fruit powers the power to fight against the powers. X23 US. Com updates fastest. Fire, ice, lava, lightning, lasers, these terrifying Logia fruits, it is because of the presence of hockey that they are not invincible. Armament hockey users can touch the entity of the Logia fruit and damage them. At the same time, the essence of armament hockey is armor that can resist all attacks. As long as the armor is strong enough, strike, slash, electric shock, high temperature, low temperature, all attacks can be resisted, as long as hockey's level is high enough, then Charlotte Linlin's steel body and Kaido's undead body are nothing. Crackling. Lightning is flashing, lightning is jumping. His body was scorched black, his eyes were bloodshot, his hair was standing on end, and the fragrance of flesh on the surface of the man's face was grim. Most of the clothes on his body had long been damaged, and his strong muscles were exposed, but the scarf covering his mouth was fine. Yes, no damage at all. The ground has completely turned into the appearance of rice cakes, constantly surging, wrapping around hockey to block him in front of him, blocking the lightning for him. Don't think about it. Katakuri let out a low drink, and a dozen tentacles instantly grew from behind, which already took on the shape of a fist. Then, the pitch-black armament hockey instantly covered it. Then, the area at the tail suddenly swelled, and intense heat bulged. Baked rice cakes. Quote. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Only the sound can be heard, the trajectory of the movement is completely invisible, and the sticky rice fist sticking out behind Katakuri has completely disappeared. Damn. Enno's face was ugly again. Is hockey that strong? Just an instant, Katakuri was getting closer and closer, and he was about to approach him again. Enno knew very well that only if he kept a distance, he would have a chance of winning. In melee combat, he was able to foresee the future. Whether it was armament or fighting technique, he was better than him. Katakuri is definitely not something he can win. Crackling. Enno instantly turned into a thunderbolt, and it was about to rise into the sky in the blink of an eye, but at this moment, the lightning-like swift attack from Katakuri also arrived. Hey, did you see it again? Enno was speechless for a while. What a terrifying ability. Get away from me. The body condensed and formed in an instant, and with a flick of the hand, a strong thunderbolt shot out, and in the blink of an eye, the baked rice cake was really turned into a baked rice cake. But at this moment, Katakori's tall body has appeared in front of Enel's eyes. The peerless donuts! Katakori shouted lowly. Behind him, rows of donut turrets were already in place, and in an instant, the tendons that could hit Enel would be broken and fractured. It's really entangled. Enel shouted, come on then. Full power. 1 billion volts. Thor King GNU Thor. Boom. The thunder in the sky is agitated. The thunder in the sky has been connected to the Enel on the ground, and the terrifying atmosphere of destroying everything spreads out. You are very good at hiding, so you have nowhere to hide. You are very good at resisting, then try again. A huge figure has appeared in front of Katakori, the giant shining blue, exuding a destructive breath. Definitely a powerful one that belongs to the top predators. Ah! A low growl came from Katakori's throat, and the opponent was more powerful than expected. However, he will not lose. Well. Katakori raised his eyebrows, turned his body, jumped up, and landed gently in the distance. Boom! A huge wall fell directly between the two, dividing Enel and Katakori into two sides. Well. Unable to see the real appearance, Enel, who was surrounded by lightning, said loudly, Chef, what do you mean? Da. Landing lightly on the wall of butter, the chef said, this is it. The battle is over. What did you say? It's not just the size that's enlarged, the voice is also diffused. Chef, you kid, do you know what you're talking about? If you let you fight again, you will lose more than you gain. Chef looked back at Enel and replied, if you continue to fight, you will only lose both, as you should understand. Enel. Yeah ha ha ha, I don't know. Enel laughed loudly, and with his laughter, thunder and lightning flashed between the heaven and the earth, and the heaven and earth were shocked. You get out of the way, I'm going to kill that guy. Don't forget, Enel, the mission the captain gave us is to fight off the Big Mom pirates, not to fight them to the death. The chef said slowly, his tone was light, but there was no doubt about his determination. Do you want to go against the captain's words? Cut. The thunder and lightning dissipated in an instant, and the original Enel had appeared in front of the chef. He's the captain, of course I listen to him. Then, Charlotte Katakori. The chef turned his head to look at Katakori, who was on the side, and said in a gentle tone, you are also seriously injured. Enel's thunder and lightning are still strong enough. Do you want to continue fighting? If you continue, the maid and I will follow suit. 1 billion bounty, Chef Dino. Katakori looked at the chef with fixed eyes, and said in surprise, what a terrible guy. Also. Katakori raised his head. Above the sky, above the huge pirate ship, a woman with a cigarette in her mouth was looking down. Behind her, countless warheads were ready to go. Just a thought washed the island with firepower. Then, looking back, Katakori saw two chimeras entangled, the somewhat embarrassed brother Perospero and the more disgraceful brother Oven, and sister Amand who was also dragged by a chimera, and others the brothers and sisters who fought to stop the idiots who went mad at the music of the woman above the sky. Katakori was silent. Already lost, if the other party is willing, he can completely destroy his own side, just 4 people plus a few man-made monsters. Well done. Katakori thought. Vlad. Retreat. The man turned and walked away without looking back. Very good. Chef nodded. Then, in the first game, we won. Dash 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 dash. Oh, is it over on your side too? On a hilltop, Vlad looked at the fleet of the distant Big Mom pirates, holding a phone bug in his hand, looking very happy. The standing here did not last long, and the situation fell into a stalemate. Vlad's brothers and sisters understand very well that Vlad himself has no way to take the opposite side before he takes a shot. There is really no need to continue fighting, so he simply retreats. Ha, what a piece of good news. Well. The chef's calm voice came from the other side. After all, Our combat power is already very strong. Although the opponent has a strong category, there are actually not many cadres. Yes, after all the nations are one nation. Vlad said softly, just to deal with the small whitebeard pirates, it is already a high standard to send 3 generals out. Of course, the other ministers must stay to ensure the operation of the country. So what? Chef, how's the loss? Enel took some pain and broke a few bones. Chef laughed, I got punched several times by Katakuri. Ha, it's better to teach that guy a lesson. Vlad smiled. Also, a chimera was overcharged because it was struck by Enel's lightning and was scrapped. Vlad gasped, that's not really good news. There will be no losses after that. After all, there are only a few people on our side participating in the battle. The cook asked, then, Captain, what's next? Next. Vlad smiled, of course you wait. Wait for that crazy woman. Watch it, Chef, it won't be long before the big battle. Chapter 591 Agitated. Woo ha 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 ha, look, this horrific sight. On the island above the flight in the sky, Vlad laughed, hey, God, Katakuri brothers' fist is still very hard, right? Tisk. Enel, whose injuries were all healed, immediately sneered, you really look like a younger brother who worships his elder brother. Captain. Really? Vlad smiled. He, what an amazing win. Moria laughed giggling, the big mom pirates that dominated the New World for decades were easily repelled by us. He, still under the command of the 3 generals. Don't get excited, Moria. Vlad smiled, although it was indeed repelled. In fact, apart from some grassroots troops, there was no loss on the opposite side. I think our losses are even greater. After all, 1 chimera costs 5 ships. Warships cost 5 times more than pacifists. Quote. God, you bastard, give me compensation. Vlad's eyes turned to Enel. Oops, the injury is on, and I'm going to die. Crack. With a flash of lightning, Enel has disappeared. Cut. Vlad pouted angrily. So, Captain, we're just waiting. Maid said softly, wait for Charlotte Linlin to come over. No. Vlad turned his head. No, not waiting for Charlotte Linlin to find us, but waiting for Charlotte Linlin to find Brother Katakuri and the others. Huh. The maid was a little puzzled. Hey. Vlad smiled, look, it's definitely a perfect plan. Ha, that old woman's weakness is too obvious. Big Mom pirates, this time, they're going to be hit hard. Dash. What? Sparrow, what did you say? Cake Island, in the huge palace, the queen of this country, the queen who rules the new world, Charlotte Linlin opened her mouth wide and roared. Disgusting saliva flowed out of her mouth, corroding small pits one by one on the ground. You kid, say it again. Mom, sorry, we lost the battle. In front of her, the phone bug stuck out a long tongue and made a somewhat frightened voice. The strategy to seize the Whitebeard pirates' territory has failed, and we have been stopped. Mom, are you kidding me, Sparrow? Charlotte Linlin laughed. Her eyes were extremely cruel. My son, the 3 desert stars are dispatched together. Will he be stopped by Marco, who is also fighting Kaido at the same time? Mommy, Sparrow, you must be kidding. Ladies, are you laughing? This kind of fighting power is still lost. Why don't you die? Mom, the opponent is not the Whitebeard pirates. The phone bug changed to the face of the man wearing the scarf. Katakuri. Charlotte Linlin was taken aback. So, are you really being stopped? Well. Katakuri responded softly, that's true. Mom, it's actually true. The terrifying momentum began to gather in the room, and everything was trembling. The sons who have high hopes for my mother have been defeated like this. Mom, don't be angry. Mom, calm down. Mom, let's hear what Katakuri has to say first. Charlotte Linlin, sighed, Thundercloud Zeus, Sun Prometheus, and Napoleon with a double-horned hat were very active. "Mommy, talk about it." Katakuri. Charlotte Linlin said solemnly, "What happened? I believe that half the Whitebeard pirates will definitely not be able to defeat you." "Indeed, the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates led by Foil Vista are not our opponents at all. They have been defeated by us, and they will be completely defeated by us in the near future." Katakuri said solemnly, "This was a sure thing, but..." Charlotte Linlin asked, "But what happened? What happened?" "Afterwards, there was no warning." Katakuri's tone was a bit heavy. Failure was something he was absolutely unwilling to accept. This man always wanted to play the most perfect role in front of his family. The Whitebeard pirates retreated directly. Retreat. Charlotte Linlin was a little confused. Did they just give up the fight? "No, because right after that we were attacked." Katakuri said. "Assault. Mom, you're really brave. Which guy attacked the old lady's son?" Charlotte Linlin's tone is very bad. "Everyone in this sea knows that there are many forces in the New World that can never be offended. Of course, the Big Mom pirates are one of them. And it is also one of the few forces with the highest sequence." "Yes." Katakuri looked hesitant. "Yes. Who is it?" Katakuri. Charlotte Linlin yelled, "Tell me." "Call." Slow sigh of relief, Katakuri finally said, "Yes, Vlad." Vlad. Charlotte Linlin was a little stunned at first, then became furious, and the violent conqueror hockey spread. That kid. Do you really dare to fight against my mother?" "Well, mother, don't underestimate him." Katakuri said solemnly, "That kid has the power to be called the Emperor of the Sea." What are you talking about?" Katakuri. Charlotte Linlin slapped the ground with a heavy slap, and the ground cracked in an instant, and the crack extended to an unknown distance. "You mean, that brat Vlad already has the power to be on a par with the old lady?" "Mom." Katakuri opened his mouth and said, "That guy didn't make a move. He just relied on his subordinates to repel us. It's definitely not an opponent that can be underestimated." "Stop talking nonsense, Katakuri. You guys just wait." Charlotte Linlin said loudly, "I'll be right over here. This time, I must take out the soul of that bastard." "Mom." Crack. The phone bug was directly pinched by Charlotte Linlin. I Ben. Charlotte Linlin yelled. "Mom, I'm here, Mom." The door was slammed open, and a tall man walked in. Ready to sail. Charlotte Linlin stood up, as majestic as a hill. "I'm going to kill that bastard. Go personally." "Yes." Ben lowered his head gently, with a slight smile, "Mom." It didn't take long for the Fire Dragon pirates to repel the Big Mom pirates in 2 ways. Chapter 593 Start. With the rumbling newspapers, the war between the Fire Dragon pirates and the Big Mom pirates has spread all over the world. X23 US. Com updates fastest. Ha. The new Emperor of the Sea is about to appear. The Fire Dragon pirates. The new world is about to change. Let's go. Go and join the Fire Dragon's command. That man is definitely one of the best heroes in the sea. If you join his command, you will definitely be able to see the unique scenery in the world. If a new emperor appears, he must also need his subordinates. Ha. Let's go. Go to him. Really, did you make such a big noise just after entering the new world? Fire Dragon Vlad really is a terrible guy. Kid, what shall we do next? Don't worry, killer, just watch the show. The situation in the new world is not something we can intervene. Just hide for a while. Godfather, let's go next. When you arrive in the new world, you have to learn to stand in the team. Find a 4 emperor first. Well, Charlotte Linlin might be a good target, ha. The active performance of the Fire Dragon pirates certainly aroused the reactions of all the pirates in the new world. Some wanted to follow the Fire Dragon, and of course some were full of malice. However, all of this has nothing to do with Vlad now. dash 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 dash. Let's sail. Cake Island, the huge fleet has assembled in the open sea. Charlotte Linlin's ship, the living pirate ship, the huge Hormes created by Charlotte Linlin infused with the soul, the Queen Mother anthem is ready to go. On the bow of the boat, a very tall, monster-like woman said loudly. Sail out, Big Mom pirates, go and tear that bastard to pieces. Oh! Respondents gathered behind. Charlotte family cadres who had followed the three generals to the front line to fight, all the remaining capable cadres were already concentrated here. By Charlotte Linlin himself, plus the numerous combat powers on the surrounding giant ships, the combat power of this fleet is very close to the advance army commanded by the three generals. Mommy Mom, Vlad. The huge pirate ship, the Queen Mother anthem, has broken through the sea and headed towards the front line. You bad boy, this time. This time, you must be smashed to pieces. I don't need you in the dreamland of my mother. Disobedient guys exist. Ben. Charlotte Linlin exclaimed suddenly, Eben. Yes, mother. Behind, nicknamed Hacksaw, the upstart of the Charlotte family, a big cadre, who has become Charlotte Linlin's son-in-law and Vlad's brother-in-law, the guy named Ben, replied solemnly. I'm here. How long will it take? Charlotte Linlin exclaimed, how much longer? To be able to rendezvous with Katakuri and the others. At our speed. Ben pondered, it will take a week at the earliest. Damn, does it take that long? Charlotte Linlin's expression was extremely contorted, damn it. Is it taking so long? Then just wait. Vlad, let you be arrogant for a while at the end. Please be patient. Ben had a smile on his mouth, and he couldn't see the arrogant appearance when he first entered the new world. Mom, victory, sooner or later. Victory, of course, comes sooner or later, and it is a matter of course. That man, of course, will keep winning until he becomes One Piece, King of Pirates. Dash 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 dash. Has Charlotte Linlin been dispatched? Location is Mariajoy. Because of the damage of the Marine headquarters, Marine's office work will be carried out in this place until the new headquarters is built. Has the New World, which had been calm for more than 10 years since the red-haired Kaido's summit, started with Whitebeard's death, and finally began to turmoil again. The old woman, who is thin but looks full of energy, whispered. It's really troublesome. That guy Huolong is about to become the new emperor. Arms around his chest, the man who was temporarily in charge of marine affairs, the commander-in-chief of the world government, Kong, said with some distress, it has been proven, that guy has mastered the ability to capture the devil fruit, and the golden lion's fluttering fruit has been taken from him. Suddenly cooperated with the Whitebeard pirates, but we all know that if that guy wants to become the new emperor, the territory is necessary, and the Whitebeard pirates are also their enemies. Granny Crane said softly, so, under such circumstances, cooperation can still occur, and the Whitebeard guy's ability was also taken away by the fire dragon, right? This is definitely a temptation that the Whitebeard pirates can't refuse. So, drive, Vegapunk's thing is also done by that guy. Sora shook his head, what a bold man. That is to say, Marine's problem is very serious now, otherwise, the government may have to attack him, and he has done something that is absolutely impossible to do. Doctor, said Vegapunk. He said solemnly, have you found him? I found it. With the vivre card that I made, I finally determined his location. Sora nodded, the fire dragon guy didn't take him to the New World. Oh, yes, he took away that island. The ability of fluttering fruit is really convenient. The dragon is not here now. Suru Vice Admiral said, so Dr. Vegapunk has been brought back. No. Sora shook his head, although we know the location of Dr. Vegapunk, we can't reach him. What? Crane was a little confused. At Sky Island. Sora shook his head, I'm afraid the fire dragon put that island in the Baibaihi. The Baybihai is 10,000 meters away from the sea. We can't go up. Let Borsellino go. His mission is almost over. Crane said, when he comes back, let him go. It's not impossible for him to go to Sky Island. Good. Sora nodded. It was a really good idea, and then, the man who stood at the pinnacle of world power said, where's Kuzan? That kid. Crane shook his head, he still doesn't want to accept it. Trouble. Sora looked distressed. Are these two guys still doing this kind of thing at this juncture? Do they know what's going on with Marine right now? How long are they going to keep me in this position? I haven't been Marshal Marine for a long time. No way, the justice of those two boys is in conflict. No one wants to retreat. Crane said worriedly, maybe. Do your best to stop it. Sora sighed, those two boys are indispensable for Marine and for the government. How's the conscription going? Crane asked. Fortunately, the situation is not bad, and the people still support the just Marine. Sora nodded. After Akainu's promotion, there are vacancies. Is that guy Tokikake okay? Very good. Crane twitched his lips helplessly. After being rejected by Gion a few days ago, I immediately went to West Blue. That boy. Sora was speechless. It really was the right choice not to let him be promoted to Admiral. Is this the time to let him act recklessly? Get ready, Crane, maybe. Sora suddenly became worried. The Fire Dragon guy. Maybe the biggest wave in marine history is coming. Chapter 594 The Key to Winning. Has been a week since the news of the Fire Dragon pirates repelling the Big Mom pirates spread across the sea. During this week, the New World was not peaceful. The huge fleet led by Big Mom himself rode the wind and waves and rushed towards the front line. In order to vent his anger, all the pirate groups encountered on the road were sunk by Charlotte Linlin himself, annihilated in the huge waves, wind and flames. Everyone knows that when this fleet and the Desert Three generals will meet, a huge war of unprecedented scale is about to start. Can the Fire Dragon pirates become as everyone thinks they will be? The new Emperor of the New World depends on this battle. At the same time, just as Big Mom was on his way, another battle on the other side of the original territory of the Whitebeard pirates did not stop because of the silence on Big Mom's side, and the two sides started a fierce conflict. Whitebeard pirates led by Marco, the Phoenix, joined the other captains led by Foil Vista, and also had the assistance of captains under Whitebeard from all over the New World. Compared with the beginning, their strength has grown greatly. In this week, a fierce battle was launched with the pirate fleet led by the Three Disasters. This time, the Whitebeard pirates did not retreat as they did before. The two sides were tugging back and forth around several islands. You come and go, as expected of the Whitebeard pirates, after losing the captain of the 4th Division and the 3rd Division. It is still comparable to the main fleet of the Beast pirates. Even, the pirates of the Whitebeard pirates once gained the upper hand in the battle, taking 3 islands from the hands of the Beast pirates in a row. For a time, the Beast pirates were defeated steadily. However, this situation finally came to an end on the 5th day, because Kaido of the Beasts entered the war. After the 3 plagues were hampered, the monster named Kaido finally joined the battle. A terrifying monster indeed. No fleet at all, one person, just one person. Just one person rushed directly into the queue of the Whitebeard pirates, broke through the defense line of the Whitebeard pirates by himself, and faced the Whitebeard pirates alone, including the Phoenix Marco, Fire Fist Ace, Foil Sword, more than a dozen captains including Vista, and thousands of pirates. Yet another Kaido-style battle outnumbered. This time, though, Kaido didn't lose. The result of the battle ended with the helpless retreat of the Whitebeard pirates. The battle lasted for a whole day. When the battle was over, the island where the battle broke out was completely sunk. The Whitebeard pirates could no longer carry it before the monster-like power of Kaido, and could only retreat helplessly. The front line of the Beast pirates continued to advance hundreds of nautical miles. The victory and defeat between the two pirates have finally been decided, and the Beast pirates joined by Kaido is no longer something that the Whitebeard pirates can compete with. The New World, everyone is watching. How will the final situation develop? Everyone knows that it is absolutely impossible for the Whitebeard pirates to defeat the Beast pirates, but it is still possible to hold them back. The final outcome depends on the results of the battle between the Fire Dragon pirates and the Big Mom pirates. The Fire Dragon pirates are allies of the Whitebeard pirates. As long as the Fire Dragon pirates defeat the Big Mom pirates, then the next thing the Beast pirates will face is the combined attack of these two pirates. Even the strongest one-on-one, Kaido of the Beasts, is definitely not an opponent in the face of such combat power. However, if the Fire Dragon is defeated by Charlotte Linlin, then naturally everything will be in vain. At this time, the man who was expected by everyone, the captain of the Dragon Pirates who was about to fight Charlotte Linlin, the man who everyone thought would become the new emperor, but Ferdinando Vlad was enjoying himself in the kitchen of eating. Oh! Vlad was sitting on the ground with a huge cake in front of him. The corners of his mouth were full of cream, and his eyes shone with intoxicated brilliance. That's not bad. Chef, your craftsmanship has soared. The chef who was busy in front of the oven turned around and said helplessly, Captain, is this really good? It's going to be a battle with the Big Mom pirates, right? Are you in a good state now? Good. Good can't be better. Vlad frantically stuffed the cake into his mouth and said, it's the best state right now. Woo. The chef wiped the sweat from his forehead and said, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Just keep working hard. Vlad smiled, wiped his mouth, and frowned, Cook, it's not enough. This cake isn't enough. Not enough. The chef looked confused, what's not enough? Captain, what are you thinking about? The taste isn't enough. It's still improving. Vlad said solemnly, this level of cake is not enough. Although it is already super good. However, it is still a little bit worse. So, Captain. Chef twitched the corners of his mouth and said speechlessly, what's the point of this? Well, of course there is meaning. You just need to know, Cook. Vlad licked the corner of his mouth and said, what you are doing now is preparing for us to defeat the Big Mom pirates. Prepare. The chef's handsome face was a little distorted, looking at the oven in front of him, smelling the sweet smell coming from it. The man looked very puzzled. Captain, I really can't figure out how this is related to repelling Big. What's the connection with Mom? Could it be to fight off Charlotte Linlin with a cake? The chef's mouth twitched slightly. Yes. Crack. Vlad snapped his fingers and said with a smile, that's it. It's to use the cake to repel the Big Mom pirates. Huh. The chef has been fascinated. Although Vlad has always been reckless, although he always does some confusing things, it is still relatively reliable. But what does today's event mean? Well, you don't understand. Chef. Vlad smiled, you don't know Charlotte Linlin, you don't know her. Hey, it's hard to beat her, and it's not easy to beat the Big Mom pirates. It's us, if we want to defeat them. To be honest, it may be 50% sure, but we don't really need to fight the Big Mom pirates head-on. Hey, through Charlotte Linlin. It's not that difficult to defeat the Big Mom pirates through her. Vlad smiled, and the key lies in you. It's on top of this cake. Of course, the cake has to be delicious enough. Is that so? Was a smile on the chef's face. That's interesting. Captain, is this a challenge for me? That's right. Vlad smiled. How are you going to take this challenge? Of course. A smile appeared on the chef's face. This is the key to winning. Chapter 595 Chase. Big Mom. The sea breeze is warm, and under the blue sky is the same blue but deeper sea. The calm sea produced slight waves under the blowing of the sea breeze, and the waves rolled gently like a small flower. This was a beautiful and extremely picture-like scenery. X23 US. Calm updates fastest. On the coast, a group of people are waiting quietly. Is it coming? An extremely tall man with a height of 5 meters, Charlotte Katakuri said in a deep voice, Mom is coming. The message sent just now said. Beside him, Perospero with a long tongue looked a little distressed. There are still about 2 hours voyage, and it will be possible to see the shadow of the ship in a while. Pero, I still think. Katakuri said, going to war with Vlad is not a wise choice. But, Katakuri. Perospero looked up at his brother and smiled bitterly, this is not something we can decide. Mom's hatred for Vlad cannot be eased by words, and this battle cannot be stopped. Since Mom wants to fight, let's fight. Cracker, who was wrapped in cookies, laughed, hee hee hee, as long as it's an enemy, kill him. Brother Cracker. Extremely tall, the woman with all legs except her neck twitched the corners of her mouth. It's not a question of whether or not to fight, it's a question of whether or not you can win. That boy Vlad, as long as he doesn't want to prove a conflict with us, we are completely there's no way to get him. Yeah. Katakuri's eyes narrowed, come on. On the horizon in the distance, a huge fleet has gradually emerged. The Grand Fleet commanded by Big Mom Charlotte Linlin has finally appeared, and it is about to reunite with the advance force commanded by Desert 3 generals. At this time, the large fleet in the distance. Mom, is it finally here? Standing on the bow, a smile appeared on Charlotte Linlin's face, just like Perospero said, her hatred for Vlad has reached an indescribable level, she is very strong for this, but she is unwilling to help her achieve it. She hated the son of establishing an ideal state where all races live together equally. In the 7 days of the voyage, Charlotte Linlin's anger has been suppressed to the limit, and she can't wait to kill that guy Vlad. Vlad, you boy, wait and see. This time. Click. There was a soft sound in the sky. Oh, what did I hear? The very joking man's voice reached Charlotte Linlin's ears. Huh. She raised her head, and then saw a figure, a fiery red figure. Vlad. In just an instant, a huge sound wave roared out of Charlotte Linlin's mouth, and waves of waves were splashed on the surrounding sea, and the huge sails were bulging. You were talking about me, Charlotte Linlin. Vlad flapped his wings, put his hands around his chest, and hovered above the sky, with a ferocious smile on his face covered with fiery red scales. It's not my illusion. Vlad. Charlotte Linlin seemed to have lost her mind, her eyes were wide open, and only these 3 words popped out of her bloody mouth. Vlad. Behind Charlotte Linlin, the body is also bloated and fat, like a reduced version of Charlotte Linlin's woman, the eldest daughter of the Charlotte family, Charlotte Compart, surprised, how can this kid be here? Is he here to kill you? This kid is actually just one person. Mommy is here. Be careful. An anxious expression on his face, Haxa Ben said loudly, the Fire Dragon pirates have a pirate ship that can fly and travel through space. Maybe. It's us who stepped into the encirclement. Yeah, Tilda. Vlad glanced at Eben in surprise and smiled, is there anyone who understands? The Big Mom pirates aren't all idiots. Vlad, you kid. On the deck, with dark red hair, a purple feather cloak, and a headgear with 2 small horns on her head, the beauty named Charlotte Galette gritted her teeth, how bold. Yeah, Sister Galette, it's been a long time, are you caring about me? Vlad showed a big smile, by the way, I heard that you were married. Oh. This guy. Vlad pointed at Eben and smiled, is that the guy? Any advice? Ben said solemnly, Fire Dragon Vlad. Well, it's nothing. Vlad shook his head, it's just a pity, is another sister's happiness lost to marriage? Ha, what a pity. You bastard. Galette was furious. Stop it, Galette. Ben stood in front of Galette, stop, this man is not an opponent you can face. Oh. Vlad's eyes lit up, not bad. Sister Galette, this guy is okay. I don't need you, a traitor, to say this. Galette stood behind her husband, frowning. Yeah, Tilda. Vlad spread his hands, don't say that. Sister Galette, how can you say that you are also my beloved sister? Cut you boy. Galette gritted her teeth. Vlad. A loud roar, Charlotte Linlin's anger finally erupted. With a move with her left hand, Zeus' thundercloud covered her right hand, and she threw it hard, and a huge column of thunderlight had already slashed towards Vlad from Zeus' body. Oh. Vlad just fluttered his wings lightly, and he had easily avoided Charlotte Linlin's electric shock. For Vlad, who had turned on his freedom, it was not too easy to dodge such an attack. "It's so scary, I almost died." Vlad patted his chest, looking terrified. "Vlad!" Charlotte Linlin roared. The strong sound wave even formed a storm. The fat body jumped, the huge fist had wrapped armament hockey, and punched directly at Vlad. Charlotte Linlin, who was able to kill the giants with one punch at the age of 5, doesn't need to think about the weight of his fist. "Hey!" Fortunately, Vlad didn't need to resist hard. He laughed giggling, flapped his wings, and the whole person was already soaring into the sky. "Run, run, run!" "Damn Vlad!" Charlotte Linlin's fat body fell directly towards the sea below. Even if she was a born king of destruction, she would only have a dead end after falling into the sea. After all, she was a capable person. "Mom, be careful." With some lazy voice, Thundercloud Zeus has appeared under Charlotte Linlin, catching Charlotte Linlin's heavy body. "Follow up, Zeus, catch up." Charlotte Linlin yelled, "I'm going to kill him." "Yes, Tilda Mom." Thunderclouds rose into the sky. Chapter 596 Chase Battle Charlotte Linlin's abnormality. What's the matter? Combat. On the sea, a sweet smell spreads, and a road made of candy spreads on the rippling sea of Vivi, from the island in the distance to the big ship here. Two figures jumped up from the candy road and landed gently on the huge pirate ship Queen Mother Anthem. Just after landing on the deck, Charlotte Perosperoma with a long tongue asked loudly, "What the hell happened?" Perospero's voice was a little panicked. God is pitiful. When he saw his mother chasing a fiery red figure soaring into the sky and flying into the sky, what kind of surprise and panic was in his heart? Why did Mom fly away after that kid Vlad? Perospero, we were not prepared for what happened before. Before Kingbot could speak, Ben, who was holding his wife's hand, stepped forward and said solemnly, "The fire dragon appeared so suddenly, and we were also taken aback, and then, when he ran away, my mother ran after him. You all know what level of hatred my mother has for the fire dragon." Tisk trouble. Katakuri, who followed Perospero to the Queen Mother's anthem, frowned, with a rare look of confusion in his eyes. That guy Vlad knows his mother very well. Since he dares to come alone and led his mother away, he must it's his plans. But now we have nothing else to do either. Ben said solemnly, "We can't fly, we simply can't catch up with the speed of Mom and the fire dragon. Even if the fire dragon really has any plans, we can't interfere. We only have two choices now. One is to stay honest. Come down, wait for Mom to come back, and be prepared for the possible attack of the dragon pirates. The second is to catch up with the Vivre card." Katakuri said softly, "Even if it's futile, do you want to gamble?" Katakuri. Eben asked, "What should we do?" "I always have a bad feeling that since that guy Vlad will come to lure his mother away, he must have some plan." Katakuri said in a serious tone, "Let's go then. Everyone together. Catch up. If my mother's accident, all nations will be finished, and the Big Mom pirates will be finished." "Yes." Eben nodded slightly. "Next, take care to protect yourself and Goulet. Dash 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 dash." Above the sky, the fiery red figure whizzed past like a gust of wind, and the speed was so fast that a storm would be set off in the sky in an instant. "Hey, it's really going well." Vlad smiled, his scaly face full of smiles. "Charlotte Linlin, how did you become the fourth emperor? You're not even a bit wary." "Ha, you're laughing." Charlotte Linlin dared to run after Vlad alone when she knew that the fire dragon pirates had powerful cadres. "I really don't know how to evaluate such behavior. Is it self-confidence? Or is it just plain insane? If Vlad didn't want the Big Mom pirates to leave the scene like this, it wouldn't be impossible to gather everyone to kill Charlotte Linlin now." "Wee-oh." From the rear, Charlotte Linlin roared loudly. "Oh." Vlad fluttered his wings, his body sank abruptly, and he moved down easily in the gust of wind. Above, the whistling slashes swept past like a spear. Above the sky, the white clouds instantly broke into two pieces, blocking them. The birds and mosquitoes before this blow were instantly wiped out, clearing a huge passage in the sky. Yeah, it's scary. Vlad smiled, turned his body upside down, and looked at Charlotte Linlin, who had been pulling further and further away from him. Well, it seems to be flying a little faster. The distance is too far. Then slow down. Crack. Vlad put his hands together, and the white gold flame surged out. When he pulled his hands, a long spear emitting a strong temperature had appeared in Vlad's hand. Just say hello first. Whoosh. With a flick of his hand, the fiery meteor gun flew towards Charlotte Linlin. Vlad. At the rear, Charlotte Linlin's eyes are cold and stern, holding the long knife Napoleon in her hand, and the strong armament hockey covers it, and the already extremely sharp long knife is even more indestructible. Boom. The sharp long knife instantly slashed on the flaming spear that came flying. Just for a moment, the flame broke out, and a strong explosion was triggered. Above the sky, a flower of flame suddenly bloomed, covering the huge sky. The terrifying temperature instantly dissipated the surrounding white clouds. You bastard. PFF'd. A soft sound. Charlotte Linlin is surrounded by a scorching fireball, which is one of Charlotte Linlin's three supreme homies. The sun, Prometheus, like Fra Drake's flame that controls everything. This sun can also absorb flame. Yeah, it's not bad. Vlad suddenly stopped and didn't move forward, looking a little surprised. Hey, Prometheus, do you want to come to my side? Vlad. Completely ignoring Vlad's words, Charlotte Linlin, who was riding the thunder cloud Zeus, had already rushed in front of Vlad, holding a sword in both hands, and slashed towards Vlad's head with a single blow. Hey! The blade slashed across the sky, and the powerful slash instantly cleared a cloud of white clouds, but it didn't hurt Vlad in the slightest. Just by gently turning sideways, Charlotte Linlin's blow was evaded by a tiny margin. During the battle, the advantage of being free to think and react at all is simply too great. Even Katakori's vision of the future is not enough. Am I talking to you, Prometheus? Vlad smiled, stretched out his right hand, and the flames rose from his hand. Come to my side, as many flames as you want, you can eat enough. Asshole. Prometheus was completely unmoved. Unlike Zeus, who was soft and delicious, Prometheus inherited the cruel side of Charlotte Linlin's character. Among the humanized features, a mouth opened and flames spewed out. Suck it. Vlad opened his mouth wide and easily swallowed all the flames. It tastes good. Thanks for the hospitality, just. Looks like the invitation was rejected. Crackling. Before Vlad could finish feeling it, Charlotte Linlin waved his hand, and on top of Zeus under his crotch, a strong thunder burst and slammed towards Vlad. What a hassle. Vlad put his leisurely hand behind his back, facing Charlotte Linlin, flying backwards, fluttering his wings easily, dodging Charlotte Linlin's lightning. Since it has been rejected, then. Vlad dashed forward like lightning, and launched it with great will, easily dodging the big knife that was slashing towards him, kicking Charlotte Linlin's stomach, instantly knocking the woman into the air, and Zeus hurriedly flew back to catch it. Charlotte Linlin, of course, the woman is still unharmed. Let's continue the chase. Vlad smiled, without any intention of continuing to fight. He spread his wings, and once again distanced himself from Charlotte Linlin. Vlad. Charlotte Linlin, whose eyes were already red, chased after him again. The two were chasing and fighting, and Vlad's mobility was very comfortable. Then, Charlotte Linlin finally had an abnormality. Chapter 597 Cake Battle. Destructive power is naturally indispensable for the masters at sea. However, in addition to the destructive power, there is also a very important point, that is the endurance of the battle. After all, the gap between the real master's combat power is already very small. It is impossible to decide the winner quickly. Physical strength is absolutely indispensable for warriors at sea, especially top-level masters. Needless to say, In battle, the drive of devil fruit ability requires physical support. The lack of physical strength is not enough for heroes on the sea. It is absolutely unimaginable. A true expert, even if it is a continuous battle for several days and nights, is nothing but an ordinary thing. At the level of the 4 Emperors Admiral, the firepower is fully open, and even if it is 10 days and 10 nights, it is not a big deal. The terrifying physical strength of the top powerhouses endows them with amazing fighting endurance. Originally, it should be like this. However, there are 2 exceptions. One is the deceased elderly Whitebeard. This man deserves to be the strongest in the world. However, he is already afflicted with disease and is at risk of developing the disease at any time. It is hard to imagine how long he can fight. Charlotte Linlin that Vlad is facing now. This woman will not lose her ability to fight because of her illness, and her physical strength is sufficient for her to keep fighting. However, she has an unstoppable problem. Oh. Still flying ahead, with a somewhat expected smile on his face, sure enough. Charlotte Linlin. Are you hungry? Behind him, Charlotte Linlin, who was still chasing after Zeus, still had a grim expression, but her eyes were still full of killing intent. However, perhaps she didn't even notice that her tongue was always licking her mouth unconsciously, and saliva could not help being secreted. Charlotte Linlin suffers from severe eczema. In the absence of external stimulation, she can still maintain herself and fight all the time, but once stimulated. Hey, no need to plan, it's really smooth. Vlad smiled, took out a pointer from his pocket, turned the direction instantly, and hurried away in the direction pointed by the pointer. Slick boy. The moment Vlad turned and flew away, flames, lightning, and slashes slashed across Vlad's original location at the same time, and the terrifying power was enough to destroy everything. Charlotte Linlin's anger has been accumulating. After being walked by Vlad for so long, there is no victory at all. The anger in her heart can be imagined. Stop for me. Having completely lost her basic thinking ability, Charlotte Linlin directly urged Zeus and chased after Vlad. Hee. Vlad, who was flying high, had a smile on his lips. Don't worry, Charlotte Linlin, are you hungry already? I'll take you there. Ooh ha 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 ha, delicious cakes are waiting for you. Vlad. With a roar, Charlotte Linlin followed. Dash. Location is the New World, an unnamed island within the territory of the Whitebeard pirates. A huge fiery red pirate ship rests on the island. Oh. The beautiful woman who was sitting on the side of the ship leisurely swaying her legs suddenly said loudly, "The captain has come. The direction of the Vive Ricard's movement has been fixed, and the captain has come over here." Really? Next to her, a woman with a cigarette in her mouth who exhaled a smoke ring from time to time whispered, "That means, the battle is about to begin, right?" No problem. The cabin door opened suddenly, and the smiling man showed his head. It's completely ready. It's even better than the version approved by the previous captain. The taste is absolutely impeccable. Yeah ha ha ha. The man incarnated by Raiden sat on the top of the cabin, laughing loudly. Then let's start. This time, the Big Mom pirates are going to have bad luck. D-Drag. Let's do it. Hi yo. The fiery red D-Drag emerged from the deck, and the huge pirate ship suddenly moved. In the sky, a huge door suddenly opened, the green space was exposed, and the huge pirate ship slowly entered the door. Disappeared completely. It didn't take long for the 2 figures to fly in the direction of this island. Oh. Vlad took the lead and flew towards this side. It's here. Then, hee. It's been another half day, and you're already hungry, right? Charlotte Linlin. Charlotte Linlin, who was sitting behind Zeus and slashing a few overwhelming slashes from time to time, had red eyes, saliva from the corners of his mouth never stopped, and his body actually looked a little thin. Come on then. Vlad laughed, easily dodging Charlotte Linlin's attack. His wings slammed, flames spewed out, and his body turned into lightning and rushed forward. Click. Right in front of Vlad, a gate opened instantly, and Vlad rushed into the door without any pause. What? Charlotte Linlin in the back was suddenly startled, and before she could regain her senses, the door had closed abruptly, and above the vast sky, she was alone. Vlad, you kid. After a brief stunned moment, Charlotte Linlin was furious. Where did you go? Hey. Napoleon swung the long sword in his right hand vigorously, and the overwhelming slashing slashes roared out, instantly bombarding the island below, leaving a huge ravine directly on the island, traversing half of the island. You kid, come out for me. Chi. The slashes flew everywhere, and cuts appeared one after another on the sea. The clouds in the sky had turned into sieves, and the islands below were the same. In a short period of time, they were riddled with holes. Dash. Hey, what a bad temper. In the green space, Vlad watched Charlotte Linlin's destruction everywhere, licking his fingers, but with a faint mockery on his face. It's really no different from a child. Then, Captain, it's done. Behind Vlad, the chef whispered. Well, it's amazing, chef, such deliciousness. Vlad turned his head, his fingers had been licked clean, and the corners of his mouth were full of saliva. Come on, let's give up the battle. Let's wait for the next chance. Hey. Maid reluctantly reminded, Captain, stop joking, don't be distracted by the asterisk of your will. Damn, okay. Vlad's face changed for a while, and then he gritted his teeth and said, waste is waste. Then let's get started. Flapping his wings, Vlad's body floated up, and behind him, several huge things also floated up with his body. Those were huge cakes, exuding an extremely sweet fragrance. Will make people feel very happy taste. This is sweet cream. Click. The door suddenly opened. Vlad rushed out with the cakes. Cake Battle. Chapter 598 The Runaway Big Mom. Vlad. The earth-shattering roar spread everywhere, and the surrounding air even formed huge waves visible to the naked eye, and everything shivered in such a roar. You brat, get out of here for my mother. The old lady is going to kill you. Get out of here, my mother. Charlotte Linlin's anger can no longer be contained, and the only remaining sanity is also wiped out in the anger. Vlad. Oh, I seem to have heard someone calling me. Suddenly, Vlad's somewhat playful voice came from above, is that you? Charlotte Linlin. Vlad. Vlad had already flown out of a door in the sky. Charlotte Linlin spit out these 3 words, finally willing to come out. Oh, don't worry, Charlotte Linlin. Seeing that Charlotte Linlin was about to start again, Vlad waved his hand and said with a smile, this is not the time to fight, don't you smell it? Such sweet taste. Well. The arm that was ready to go suddenly suffocated. Charlotte Linlin's pupils shrank instantly, and the saliva from the corner of her mouth rushed down like a dike burst. It smells so good. Just like a bare child, Charlotte Linlin's eyes instantly burst with peach hearts. Hey, it's delicious, isn't it? Vlad smiled and made a light move with his left hand. Inside the door that had not been closed, 3 huge cakes floated out, quietly suspended behind Vlad's back. Thicker, the door closed instantly as the cake floated out. Quote. Charlotte Linlin has completely stopped moving. She originally wanted to do it to Vlad, but she stopped instantly after the 3 cakes appeared, and she stared straight at the 3 huge cakes in front of her. Mom. It's over. Mom hasn't eaten for a long time. So despicable. This bad boy Vlad is really despicable. When Charlotte Linlin stopped moving, her 3 homies were screaming for a moment. Give it to me, Vlad. Suddenly, the old woman shouted, give me the cake. Hey, I really want to eat it. Charlotte Linlin. Vlad smiled, and with a slight movement of the fingers of his left hand, the ability of fluttering fruit was activated instantly. On the smallest cake, a piece of cream the size of a human head floated up, and floated directly towards Charlotte Linlin. Gudong. Charlotte Linlin swallowed hard as the cake quickly approached, licking her scarlet tongue on her lips. Then try it, Charlotte Linlin. Vlad smiled. My chef made the best cake in the world. Kong. Quote. The big hand grabbed the cake directly, stuffed it into his mouth instantly, and hurriedly closed his mouth. The upper and lower teeth collided, making a loud noise. Neat. Charlotte Linlin's eyes widened instantly, and an indescribable sweetness filled her heart. This was the delicacy she had never eaten before. Gee, how's it going? It's not working anymore, is it? Vlad smiled. The cake made by the chef himself, mixed with the sweet cream after awakening. The most delicious cake in the world is here. Can you hold on, Charlotte Linlin? Put. Charlotte Linlin's eyes widened. It's for me. Without any need for extra words, Zeus charged Charlotte Linlin towards Vlad in an instant. Hey, what a whimsical thing. Charlotte Linlin. Vlad smiled. Without any hesitation, afraid of flapping his wings, he flew in the other direction, and as he moved, 3 huge cakes began to move with him. How can it be given to you? Cake, my cake. Quote. Seeing the huge cake in front of her quickly move away, Charlotte Linlin's eyes suddenly widened, but her pupils were shrinking, and the expression on her face was extremely ferocious. Give it back to me. Hey, for you. Vlad smiled, thinking too much. Crack. Vlad snapped his fingers, and a lump of cake floated in front of him. Wow. Vlad squinted his eyes and held his face in his hands, with a happy expression on his face. Super delicious. Shut up. Charlotte Linlin yelled. That's my cake. Hey, think more. Vlad smiled, and another piece of cake entered his mouth. Amu, this is my cake. Yeah, it's delicious. Wee-oh. Charlotte Linlin watched Vlad take another bite of her own cake. Her pupils shrunk to the tip of a needle and laughed loudly. She waved her right hand heavily, and an earth-shattering slash slammed towards Vlad. Hey. Vlad hurriedly dodged to the side, easily dodging the huge slash, but the smallest cake was not so lucky, or rather, Vlad didn't want to see it so lucky. It was directly hit by the slash and dissipated, and there was nothing left. What? Charlotte Linlin's hands were shaking, her body trembled violently, and it took a long while before 2 words came out from her throat. Egg, cake. Yeah, how cruel, Charlotte Linlin. Vlad smiled. Don't you mind at all. Crack. With a light snap of his fingers, a piece of the second largest cake among the 3 cakes was automatically separated and brought to his mouth. Wow. Superb. Quote. Completely disregarding the battle, Vlad danced. Super delicious. Hoo. Charlotte Linlin was breathing heavily, staring straight at the 2 cakes behind Vlad's back. When the smallest cake was destroyed, the fragrance not only did not fade, but because there was one less, it was purer. That's how the smell came out. Hey, do you smell it? Vlad took another bite and smiled. The bigger the cake, the better the taste. Give it to me. Roaring so loudly, Charlotte Linlin didn't dare to attack anymore, and rushed directly towards Vlad. At this moment, all hatred have been put aside. All Charlotte Linlin wants is this cake. Hey, here it is. Vlad smiled. Okay. A slight wave of his left hand, the second smallest cake floated towards Charlotte Linlin. Cake. Charlotte Linlin opened her eyes wide, her mouth wide open, and the saliva flowed out like a small river. Slowly, the cake has floated in front of Charlotte Linlin. The old woman has stretched out her hand, and is about to touch this delicious cake. Of course. Vlad snapped his fingers, and the fluttering fruit ability that acted on the cake disappeared instantly. I lied to you. Vlad grinned. Whoosh. The huge cake fell instantly, just 1 centimeter away from Charlotte Linlin's outstretched hand. Quote. Charlotte Linlin blinked, a little confused. Wow. Before long, there was a loud noise from below, and the huge cake had fallen into the sea, shattering its bones. Cake. Charlotte Linlin blinked. My cake. Not good. No way. Mom, hold on. Mom. The three homies said loudly, their voices full of worry. Mine. Charlotte Linlin tilted her head back, her eyes widened, but her pupils became smaller and smaller, and finally. Ah! The old woman roared, and the look in her eyes completely disappeared. Oh, it's finally done. Vlad smiled, taking a piece from the last cake and stuffing it into his mouth from time to time, smiling, that's right. Run away. Cake, quote. Charlotte Linlin bowed her head sharply, staring at Vlad like a demon. Her eyes were full of tyranny and thirst for food, and the rationality of being a human had completely disappeared. Hee. Vlad smiled. If you want, come and get it yourself. Whoosh. The fiery shadow soared into the sky carrying a huge cake. Give me. Then, a ghost-like voice from hell, cake. Chapter 599 Pick up the cake. Tisk, it really looks familiar. Vlad smiled, his wings were covered with flames, and he was extremely fast. Behind him was Charlotte Linlin, who was chasing after him, with an extremely ferocious expression and a long tongue sticking out, just like Sparrow. More words, only the word, cake, was muttered in his mouth. What's even more peculiar is that the body shape of this crazy woman is also very different from before, becoming thinner and looking like a terrifying ghost. Vlad is very unfamiliar with Charlotte Linlin's appearance. This is the first time he has seen Charlotte Linlin look like this. However, he has seen the expression of that crazy woman, and he is very impressed. The night surrounded by blood and fire, the night of parting. Ahaha, come on, Charlotte Linlin. Vlad laughed and fluttered his wings. If you want to eat cake, just follow me. Give me. Charlotte Linlin has completely lost her rationality, and her body is dominated by her desire for cake and her tyrannical nature. Give me the cake. Come on. Vlad smiled. Charlotte Linlin, come with me. Let's go together and give the Big Mom Pirates a big gift. Well, is it here? Vlad fumbled around, and finally took out a blank piece of paper from his butt pocket. Oh, I finally found it. Next, go over there, right. Vlad smiled and spread out his right hand. A piece of white paper on it was slowly moving towards a certain direction on the right. This was a vivre card, someone's vivre card. So, in the next thing, you have to protect yourself. Vlad grinned and turned to the right. Don't just die. Comrade I Ben. Dash. Damn Vlad. On the sea, a huge pirate fleet is riding the wind and waves, and all the waves are only small winds and waves before such a large fleet. Charlotte Sparrow, the eldest son of the Charlotte family with a long tongue, said angrily, where did that kid take his mother? It's been 2 days. Charlotte Katakuri said solemnly, for 2 days, Mom's position has been moving. What happened between the two? However, since the mother's position is still moving, it doesn't stop at all. Doesn't it mean that the mother is fine? Aside, I Ben had Vivi's smile on his face. Of course it is. Wrapped in a giant biscuit soldier, Charlotte Cracker laughed. Mommy is invincible. That kid Vlad is as different as his mother. No. Katakuri shook his head. There must be something wrong. That kid Vlad will never do anything useless. There must be a reason for him to lead his mother away. I always have an ominous premonition. Me too, I can't grasp the movement of the fire dragon pirates at all. I Ben said with some worry, the fire dragon led my mother away. The biggest fighting force on our side is no longer there. With their mobility, it is very easy to attack us, but they didn't move. Katakuri said solemnly, what are they planning? That bastard. Sparrow said angrily, has that brat Vlad actually grown to this point? We are all helpless against him. Quote. His goal is to be the One Piece King of Pirates. Katakuri Vivi was silent, then said, that kid, maybe soon he will reach the point where we can only look up. But, gentlemen, please don't forget. Ben had a smile on his face. The fire dragon guy is now our enemy. Of course I understand. Katakuri glanced at Eben and replied. Huh, that is. Suddenly, Katakuri's eyes widened. Vlad. What? No way. The guy is here again. Front of the big ship, following Katakuri's line of sight, a fiery red shadow has already flown towards this side, and the speed is extremely fast as lightning. One person. Only one person. Sparrow looked incredulous. Is that kid here to kill you? He wants to attack our fleet by himself. What's the matter? Did Mom get dumped by him? Ben was a little surprised and said, or is this their plan, to lure Mom away and hit everyone to defeat us? Impossible. Katakuri shook his head. Even if they concentrate all their strength, they won't have an advantage in the face of our current military strength. How could he have the confidence to defeat us? Ah ha ha ha. Wild laughter came from above. Vlad had already flown to the front of the huge fleet and stayed high in the sky. Ah, Brother Peros, Brother Katakuri, it's been a long time. Vlad, you boy. Sparrow raised his head and said loudly, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Vlad looked back at the huge cake floating behind him and smiled. Isn't this a gift for you? How about this cake? Isn't it bad? Cake. Katakuri frowned. That's it. Mom is back. Suddenly, Eben exclaimed. What? Katakuri raised his head, lowered his head, and sure enough, in the sky not far away, a white cloud flew rapidly. That was Charlotte Linlin's mount, Thundercloud Zeus. Mom is back. What the hell is going on? What's the purpose of this kid Vlad? The second son of the Charlotte family, the pillar of the Big Mom pirate group, is completely confused at this moment. He finally ran here to lure his mother away, but neither did anything to his mother nor sent anyone to attack him. What was Lad thinking? Wait, there's something wrong with Mommy. Sparrow yelled that as the distance got closer, Charlotte Linlin's appearance could be clearly seen. What's the matter? How did Mom get so skinny? What caught their eyes was the scrawny, ghost-like Charlotte Linlin. Well. Katakuri opened his eyes and moved his ears, as if he heard something. Cake, quote. Give it to me. Give me the cake. I heard it clearly. What? Katakuri turned his head and looked at Vlad in the sky and the huge cake behind him. Cake. Don't tell me. Katakuri's pupils shrank, already foreseeing the future in a few seconds. Vlad, you kid. Hey. Vlad smiled. Get the cake, my brothers and sisters, quote. With a wave of his left hand, the huge cake has already smashed towards the huge pirate ship, the Queen Mother Anthem. Shadows, overwhelming. My cake, quote. Charlotte Linlin, who has been completely dominated by appetite, has roared. Chapter 600 Charlotte Linlin vs. Big Mom Pirates. What? What is that? Is that a cake? The huge shadow has directly covered the huge Queen Mother Anthem, and the front half of the deck of the big ship has been completely covered in the shadow. X23 US. Com updates fastest. The huge cake that exudes a dense sweet fragrance has smashed straight towards this much larger pirate ship. The smell is very tempting. Just smelling this kind of smell will make people feel a heartfelt happiness from the bottom of the heart. As if the soul has been baptized, the body is instantly lighter by 2 pounds, and the whole body is full of vitality same. Dodge, dodge. Although it is a huge cake that smells delicious, but such a huge size is not a joke, just a huge cake that will cause these soldiers to suffer heavy casualties. Calm down, smash it. Charlotte's smoothie pulled out the long sword behind her, and said loudly, her arm was ready to go, and the next majestic slash would roar out, tearing up the huge cake in an instant. It's just a cake. Just break it up. Stop. In the midst of the chaos, Katakuri's voice was still very prominent, and the man shouted, Stop, smoothie. This cake must not be destroyed. Katakuri. Perospero looked surprised. You bastard. You can't keep this cake just because you eat dessert, right? Son of a bitch, don't be foolish at the critical moment. Mom's condition is not right. With a wave of his arms, Katakuri turned into two huge rice cake hands, directly dragging the huge cake, and he said loudly, she has an eating disorder. What? Perospero's eyes widened suddenly, and then he suddenly looked at Charlotte Linlin, who was rushing fast on the other side. Yes, that expression is indeed an eating disorder. Damn, this is the boy Vlad. Is it a conspiracy? Quote. Ah, that thin, light gesture. Katakuri said solemnly, Mom's has reached the point where it can't be stopped. If this cake is taken. Understood. Ben stretched out his right hand, shielded his wife behind his back, nodded and said, as this guy, who along, trying to use his mother's eating disorder to induce her to deal with us. What a mean boy. Behind Eben, Gillette frowned. Hey, have you found it yet? But that's okay. Vlad smiled, waved his left hand lightly, the huge cake changed suddenly, a small cake separated directly, and flew towards Charlotte Linlin. Neat. Charlotte Linlin, who continued to approach, moved her nose and Vivi's mouth suddenly grew, and a small piece of cake entered her mouth to the extreme. Hey. Yummy. Quote. A huge red heart instantly appeared in the eyes of this crazy woman, and a rich blush condensed on her face. Cake. Quote. Zeus seemed to follow the master's mood. He had completely lost his mind, turned into a dark cloud, and his speed was greatly increased. He had already caught up with Vlad in an instant. However, Charlotte Linlin ignored Vlad at all. He rushed towards the huge cake. Hey, then. Vlad stretched out his left hand, the index finger and middle finger of his left hand were already lapped together. Damn. On the big boat below, Charlotte Katakuri's eyes bulged suddenly, and for the first time, an angry expression appeared on the man's face. Vlad, you kid. Katakuri's hands instantly expanded, and the huge rice cake hands that were holding the cake started to change in an instant, wrapping it towards the huge cake. Yeah, Tilda, have you foreseen it? Vlad smiled, but it's too late. Brother Katakuri, you can't stop it. Crack. Gently snap your fingers. PFF'd. Before Katakuri's rice cake wrapping was completed, the huge cake suddenly burst open with a light sound. Vlad's ability to act on the fluttering fruit on it has not dissipated, and it is not impossible for this cake to explode directly. Damn. Katakuri's eyes bloodshot. Hey. Vlad smiled and waved his left hand gently. The cake, which had completely exploded and turned into a white cloud, started to move again in an instant. The main part was covered directly towards the huge Queen Mother anthem, and the rest of the residue drifted away towards the other pirate ships. What? That kid Vlad. There was no defense, almost everyone on the deck for a moment, the cadres of the Charlotte family, the senior cadres, and even the three generals, except for Katakuri, who had been on guard, and Perospero, who was standing with him, almost. All of them have been covered with a light white cake layer. At the same time, at the moment when the cake exploded, the rich and extremely rich fragrance spread, and the sweet taste was extremely sweet. Are you all right, Gillette? Ben retracted his hands and turned his head gently, with a gentle smile on his face. It's all right. Gillette looked at her husband who was completely enveloped in the rich fragrance in front of her, and smiled, you. It's all right. Ben smiled, it's just cake. Cake. What the hell is that kid Vlad thinking? However, this cake is really delicious. Quote. A group of unknown pirates. Damn. Katakuri retracted the rice cake shield in front of him, his eyes were extremely solemn, here we come. Cake. Quote. A huge roar erupted in an instant, and the surrounding sea immediately began to be choppy. Above the sky, monsters that had been completely dominated by appetite had descended from the sky on a dark cloud. Mom. What's the matter? Hey, there's something wrong with Mommy. On the deck, there was a lot of discussion in an instant. Get out of the way. Katakuri exclaimed, get out of the way. Mom, I'm totally crazy now. Give me the cake. Boom. The huge body fell on the deck like a hill, the eyes were red, the originally fat body was as thin as a branch, and the saliva in the mouth was flowing. Cake. Where? It's over. Katakuri stepped forward, blocking all his siblings. Isn't the cake right in front of you? Vlad smiled, don't you smell it? Cake, it's hidden in these boats. Vlad. Parosparrow's face turned pale, of course he understood Vlad's plan, you kid. It smells so good. The smell of the cake. Charlotte Linlin has completely lost her mind, the huge long knife in her hand has been raised high. Give it to me. Hey. Swing the sword. A last resort, helpless. Big Mom Pirates vs. Charlotte Linlin. The battle has begun.